story revolves around Gao Xiaoling, an ordinary college student. This guy will also be our protagonist. His roommate unplugged his alarm charger, so he missed his alarm and had a car accident at 8 a.m. Then, he woke up and found himself in an apocalyptic world. A large octopus destroyed the city. A blonde-haired man with a sword cuts off its tentacles. But the tentacle grew back. The human felt hopeless after seeing that he can regenerate. Xiaoling arrived in that world with an expectation that he's a chosen one, that he would have a halo of glory and he'd kill all the monsters and save the world like a main character. But he quickly realized that something was wrong. The first time, he led the survivors out of the siege, but he was bitten by a zombie and died. When he opened his eyes again, he was back to the same spot. The second time, he used his previous life experience to lead them through the zombies, but they starved to death. The third time, he disguised himself as a zombie to steal food, but was shot in the head by the military. The fourth time, he finally awakened his powers, but he was betrayed and killed after establishing his base. And then there's the fifth time, sixth time, and so on. But every time he dies, he returns to the day he first came there. He's already at the ninth time. He gave up hope, lay flat, but was still caught as a conscript. The tentacles of the large octopus scattered. The humans retreated. But one of them was concerned about the supplies because the people in the safe house are still waiting for supplies to survive. The other man argued that if they don't run, they will all die there. A woman was wrapped in tentacles and she begged them to save her. The tentacles also restrained her hand and feet. She looked helpless. Xiaoling saw her and decided that since there was no way out, he'd just have some fun instead. He wanted to do something before he died. Suddenly, he screamed out loud and exuded electricity from his body. The light caught the attention of those men, and it made them glance back. They wondered what he's doing. They couldn't believe that he's thinking of fighting. They knew that he's just going to get himself killed. Xiaoling took out his sword and sliced the tentacles. The large octopus shed tears. The woman thanked him for saving her. He dashed forward as he instructed the woman to run away. He set his eyes on the entrance of a store. It was a convenience store. Unexpectedly, our boy ate everything that was in there, and even drank the soda that he missed the most. He left the door of the store open, and the octopus saw him. He was oblivious that it was already behind him. He stated that he could die without regrets now. Then, a few seconds later, his consciousness faded. He opened his eyes, and was surprised to find himself in the store instead of the starting point. He wondered if it meant that he didn't die. Someone answered that he died and was revived. He looked around to see who's talking. The system appeared. He was delighted to see the system. He cried as he hugged it and expressed that he had been waiting for it. He added that he was miserable. The system was in the form of a blue orb and it jumped away from his arms. It told him to calm down and explained that it was late because of a little accident. He asked what happened. The system replied that its roommate stole his charger, so its alarm didn't go off. It sounded familiar, so Xiaoling decided to believe it. He told him that it's okay to be late, but he checked if it had the plugins, golden fingers, and equipment. It replied yes. But it added that according to the procedure, he has to listen while it reads the mission instructions. So Xiaoling was currently in a post-apocalyptic world. The host's mission is to save the world and restore its peace. Only by successfully completing the task can he be resurrected in the real world. Failure will result in complete annihilation. He had a total of 10 chances, and he already wasted 9 of them, so it's his last chance. He was surprised to hear that. The system told him not to worry about the details. Since the time is short, they need to make every minute count. The system transported him as it told him to get ready for the mission. The first mission is to sell snacks within that day to earn 50 crystals. Upon completion, he can get points in exchange for attribute values, space area, and other rewards. He had his snacks laid out on the sidewalk. He grits his teeth, but eventually complained that he had to set up a food stall. His loud voice caught the attention of the zombies. One of those zombies was eating the internal organs from the corpse. He complained about the place because he'll get eaten before he can sell anything. He runs away as the zombie approaches him. He ran as fast as he could. The system asked him what he's running away from. He replied that he wouldn't just wait to get bitten, but he stopped running. When he realized that he could just order the system to wipe all of them for him, he ordered the system to kill them all. The system told him that he should call it System 2333. He anticipated. Then he asked 2333 what his superpower was. He was expecting something like the agility of a leopard, the speed of an eagle, or strength of a bear. It showed his status. His strength, speed, and perception all hasn't been rated. His wisdom is 2. His inventory hasn't been opened yet. He has a stall area of 2 square meters. He had no idea what not yet rated meant. Then, of course, he asked about it. System 2333 explained that the value was too low and was not up to the minimum standard score. His current physical attributes are too low, and if he wants to improve, he needs to earn points and exchange them. He summed it up to brain power being the only thing he's good at. Their conversation was then interrupted when he was surprised when the zombie attacked him. He went back to running at feel speed while calling the system a liar because it says that he will get superpowers. The system raised its brows while telling him that it was already given to him. The zombies stepped on the goods that he left. The system narrated that once upon a time, there was a street vendor and no one cared about him, and he regretted losing a precious item. Xiaoling asked if it was the old rag. The system got annoyed that he called it that when it was his upgrade tool. Upon hearing that, he changed course and ran towards the zombie. He complained that the system should have informed him earlier. He grabbed a metal bar on the way. He got ready to hit a zombie using that. He smacked one on the side of the neck. He kept going while hitting the zombies. One zombie grabbed him from behind, which made him fall on the ground. Immediately, he rolled towards the rag. The zombies attacked him all at once. They were in a frenzy. He lost hope and thought he's going to die again soon. Even when he saw the food, he had no appetite. He accepted that he's doomed. Unexpectedly, a blinding light appeared. It kept the zombie at bay, and they all turned away from him. He was surprised and puzzled that they were just leaving. It made him wonder on what's going on. The system pointed out that it wasn't just a rag. Xiao Ling was happy that it protected him. He corrected himself by saying that it wasn't a rag but a silk cloth. He asked if it only works on zombies. He's worried that he might encounter other mutated creatures. The system explained that it can block any form of attack. As long as he is within the range of the stall, the outside world cannot harm him. He couldn't believe it. He merrily spun around while holding the cloth. He started thinking that he was invincible. The system warned him not to get too excited because the shielding function of the stall props can only be used 3 times a day. And if he can't complete the task within the time limit, the function will fail. He was notified that the sun will set in half an hour. After dark, zombie activity will increase significantly. He complained that the place has been swept by the zombies and no one was there, and yet the system wants him to open a stall there. Suddenly, he heard someone say that it was a lucky day. 3 men walked in. One of them stated how he didn't expect there to be an unexpected harvest. He already expected that their boss would be surprised and the boss would reward them. Xiaoling felt that he's blessed by heaven. The men noticed him and asked what that was. They approached him and asked if it was candy. They couldn't believe that such a thing exists there. Xiaoling told them that the small shop not only has candy but also chips, shrimp chips, and soda. He asked them what they wanted. Those men's eyes sparkled. They were happy to see potato chips, beef jerky, even soda. They haven't had those in 3 years that they had forgotten what it tastes like. Xiaoling shared that it was his first time setting up the stall, and it was fate that they were in there. He told them that only for 50 crystals, all of the goods will be theirs. He was certain that it was a good deal. Those men looked at each other. They burst out laughing when they learned that the kid wants them to pay for it. One of them told him that, since they are in a good mood, they will let him off with just a warning. But next time, he will get a taste of Iron Fist. Xiaoling asked if they didn't have any money. He took back the soda while expressing his disappointment that he thought he had found a savior, but it turned out that he was just wasting his time. The man got angry and pointed a gun at him. The man shot him, but he was protected, and the bullets just bounced back, which made the man roasted. Then, he fell. The other 2 men were surprised. Those 2 wondered why the gun misfired. They immediately wondered if the kid was an Esper, but they had never heard of such a bizarre ability before. Meanwhile, Xiaoling was appreciating the cloth for deflecting the bullets. Those men saw him acting that way and could only see him as an idiot. They interrogated on who he was and what kind of tricks he was pulling. He replied that there are countless Espers in the world, but there's only one chosen one. He told them that for just 50 crystal cores, they can take home a massive snack bundle and even get a free signed photo with him. He asked them if they're certain that they don't want to consider it. They don't believe him. Instead, they got angry because it seemed like he's toying with them. Xiaoling sighed and told them that they're asking for trouble. They tried to punch him, but he was protected and got hurt instead. The man's fingers were bent and he complained about the pain. The man with a knife stood there. They yelled at him to move already. Xiaoling glared at the man, and the man got even more terrified. Xiaoling released electricity from his body. The man's legs trembled. Then he ran away while yelling that the kid was a monster and he didn't want to die. Those two yelled at him not to leave him behind. They called him a traitorous coward. Xiaoling yelled at them not to run, and he just wanted to ask if there's anyone else around. He saw something. Those men dropped a sack. He was confused that it moved. He thought that it was an animal. He untied it. And something came rushing out. It was a person. With long hair. And big breast. The woman turned to him. He blushed at how beautiful she was. The woman had a realization. She chased after him. Xiaoling ran as he realized that it wasn't the time for ogling her beauty, because she was clearly a zombie. Her fist was covered in flames when she punched him. That was a powerful punch that shattered the ground. Good thing he was able to evade it. Xiaoling was surprised as to when zombies got that really fast. He grabbed a random object and threw it at her. She blocked it using her arm. Then she chased after him. He ran as fast as he could. Then he grabbed the cloth and his goods since he had already used up all 3 chances. If he had known this would happen, he would have saved it. If he gets caught, it's game over. She jumped above him and blocked his path. That spooked him, which made him fall on his butt. The woman had set her eyes on him. He threw snacks on her while telling her not to come any closer. It angered her. Then he grabbed the last item nearby, then threw it at her while telling her not to get any closer. His eyes were closed, but nothing happened, so he opened it again, and he saw her happily eating the snack. She happily chewed on it. Then she swallowed it. Afterwards, she was in bliss. Xiaoling realized that this zombie likes to eat dried squid. She cautiously approached him, with an expectant expression on her face. The squid was gone now, so he got nervous. He had no idea if she eats anything else. He opened a bag of chips and threw 1 chip into her mouth. She liked it. It was great for him. He continued to place a chip on the ground while moving backwards, until he reached an edge. He almost fell on the river of lava. Our MC then threw the chip there, hoping that the zombie will chase after it. She dove in, and it made him relieved. He gave her snacks so she wouldn't eat him. After that, he saw an item on the ground. It was a high-grade dagger. He saw something surprising. It was the symbol of the Thunder Legion. The Thunder Legion is the most feared bandit organization in the apocalypse. He remembers their boss is a power-type Esper. Every single one of his subordinates is a desperado, relying on their large numbers to burn, kill, and loot, acting recklessly without a care of the military. It made him wonder if those 3 men from earlier were from that organization. It made sense to him now that they were carrying so many magazines. He grabbed the sack and hid it since it might come handy later. But he saw something inside it. It was a pouch full of crystal cores. He didn't expect to complete the task so quickly. System 2333 told him that he found it and couldn't be counted as store sales. He questioned why not when the female zombie ate dried squid and beef jerky and the crystal cores were hers. The system argues that she's a zombie. He argued that it was never stated that the customer had to be human. He accused the system of being narrow-minded. He added that it was already dark and he couldn't find anything else. If he doesn't keep his promise and wants him to be killed, he'll just give up. The system was in a pinch. It was forced to say the spiel of congratulating him for completing the task. With that, he gained experience points. The inventory had been opened, and the stall had been upgraded. His stall was now a cart. It had small equipment, too. He watched it materialize. Then he opened the inventory. There's water, rice, meat, and vegetables. He asked if that is all there is. He asked because had seen other people's storage spaces with all sorts of medicines, weapons, even planes, and cannons. The system clarified that they are a food system, not a warrior system. He commented that they're so stingy. Changing the subject, he asked what he can exchange the experience points for. The system showed him a list of items and their attributes. However, with his current points, his permission is at lowest level, so he can only exchange for some items. He currently has 21 points, and the items like toothbrush requires 300 points, a bowl for 450 points, soap for 200 points, scissors for 250 points. He commented on how shabby it was. He was bummed that the stall can only block attacks thrice a day. With that said, he decided to upgrade his defense. Then he exchanged everything for stamina. Him and the system waited for any change. But he doesn't feel anything different. His new mission is to earn 100 crystal nuclei within 24 hours and hire a waiter. He complained that 100 crystals are so much plus a waiter. The street stall was so small and they wanted it to share with someone else. A paper flew on his face. It was a poster of a girl with a drink. He remembered the milk tea shop on the street next door, and the girl used to come to school to distribute flyers and even asked him to try her drink for free. He wondered if she's alive. He imagined working with such a beautiful woman. That got him motivated and started pushing his cart. He left the cliff. But something came out of it. It was a woman zombie. She looked for him. She looked ahead and searched for tracks. Then she started running in that direction. The next day, Xiaoling arrived at the old milk tea shop. It was run down. He peeked inside and asked if anyone was there. The zombies all turned to him, which made him immediately close the door and apologize for the intrusion. Then he dragged the cart and ran. It was the same zombies who chased him yesterday, which made him complain about how persistent they are. The system corrected him, saying that they came before him and he was the one who ran into them. Those zombies were so eager. One of them jumped as it could reach the cart, but it was blasted away. Xiaoling yelled at them not to waste his defense. The zombie fell face down on the ground and he started running away. This time, he pushed his cart. The zombie rose. It looked creepier with its head upside down, and it crawled towards him upside down. Its belly was upwards. It almost bit his leg. He panicked and moved its leg right on time. He kicked it away, and the zombie crashed on a vending machine. The sound spooked the other zombies, and the vending machine fell on them. Xiaoling couldn't believe that he did that with just one kick to the head. He was amazed that the power boost actually worked. The system congratulated him on his first kill and rewarded him with a newcomer gift package, a disposable raincoat. He was a little disappointed that it was just a piece of plastic cloth. The system told him not to underestimate the raincoat since it was made of high-tech materials and can block all harmful substances. He can even swim in nuclear wastewater while wearing it, but it can only be used once. He couldn't believe that it was that good. While he was distracted, so many zombies had come already. He realized that he was attracted to the noise he made. He had no way to retreat. Suddenly, someone whispered and called him. A girl opened the door and told him to come there. He glanced behind him and saw those creepy zombies. He got into position and ran for his life while pulling his cart. They closed the door on time. The zombie kept banging on it. He expressed his gratitude to the woman for saving him on time. When he got a closer look at her, he realized that it was her. She asked him if he knew her. He told her that he's a student from a university, and she used to come to their school to promote milk tea, and even treated him to a drink. He asked if she remembers him. Deep inside, she was thinking that he's not some kind of handsome guy, and since he had ordinary looks, there are plenty like him in the university, so there's no way she could remember him. But she replied that she remembers him. She stated that he's good at basketball and loves peach-flavored pearl milk tea. He replied that he's on the football team and he doesn't even like peaches. She grabbed his arm and told him that it was nice to see him. He got distracted by how soft her boobs are. He asked for her name. She told him that it was Ai Qin, then he told her his name. She called him brother and smiled at him. That caught him off guard. He cried because it was the first time in his life that a girl had called him brother, and a beautiful girl at that. Meanwhile, she couldn't believe that he's crying. Suddenly, they heard the sound of a can. He turned and asked what it was. They got alarmed. He picked up the can to check what it was, and that surprised him. His eyes went to the door inside the room. He was about to grab the handle when Qin yelled that there's a rat. She clings to him, acting scared because of it. She pulled him away from the door, but some eyes peeked through the small crack of the door. Then Qin acted like she's fainting. He panicked on what was happening. She told him that she's hungry because she had been stuck there for 5 days without food. He replied that it was easy to fix. He left her on the ground and told her to wait while he made her something to eat. He checked his stocks while thinking of what he's going to make. He considered noodles or steamed buns, even cola chicken wings. Qin's expression turned serious as she thought about food. She approaches the cart. She saw that there's eggs, flour, and even oil. She wondered where he found such things. She didn't expect him to be such a fat sheep. She already expected to make a fortune off it. He grabbed the egg and it vanished in her hands. She was so confused, so she tried again. The system notified Xiaoling that the ingredients from the snack cart cannot be stolen. Any items taken without the owner's permission will automatically return to their original position. Her confusion made her think that she's hallucinating. She decided to take him down first, and everything in the cart will be hers. But the knife that she took vanished too. She wondered where it went. Xiaoling asked her if she's looking for it. She told him that it was hers and asked how he got it. But just earlier, when she was confused with the eggs, he grabbed it. He told her that cooking requires a knife, but since it was a little shop that just opened, he doesn't have the right tools yet. He decided to borrow her knife for a bit, expecting that she wouldn't mind. She replied that she doesn't. But she wondered how he knew that she had it. It made her think that he's been on guard against her the whole time. Then she tried to explain so he wouldn't misunderstand. She told him that it's hard for a girl to survive in the apocalypse, so the knife was just for self-defense. He replied that he believes her. She told him to return the knife to her once he's done, and he agreed to it. He gave it back while advising her not to use it carelessly since it's sharp. Suddenly, she attacked him using it. She called him foolish and that he deserves to die. To her surprise, the barrier blocked her attack and she dropped the knife. He just told him not to mess with it, but she didn't listen. She was surprised to learn that he's an Esper. She claimed that he set her up and he was determined to fight him to death. She charges at him, only leaving smoke behind. She had flames around her body. Xiaoling simply took out a pepper spray. She complained that it burns. Shine rolled on the ground while complaining about her eyes. Xiaoling told her that if she can't handle spicy food, she would have said so since he always makes sure to cater to his customers' tastes. He asked her if she likes barbecue or maybe adding a little mustard on it. She yelled at him to stop. Xiaoling told the people inside that if they don't come out, their comrades are going to be pickled. The door burst open. A girl and a boy came out screaming to let their boss go. Xiaoling was surprised to see the kids. With tears pooling on the side of their eyes, they told their boss that they are going to rescue her. Xiaoling grabbed their hoods to stop them and commented that at such a young age they are already causing trouble and causing harm to others. Qin tries to stand up while telling him not to hurt them, and he could just attack her. Since she said that, he threw the kids on her way. They all crashed on the floor. He entered the room and found instant noodles, biscuits, and canned food. He could tell many people before him had fallen for her tricks. She replied that she never failed until then. She asked him how he spotted her. He replied that those people were just too stupid. He explained that she claims that she had been stuck there for days without food, and yet he found a can with leftover soup in it that was opened not long ago. He also noticed the bloodstains on the ground, and yet she doesn't have any wounds on her. Which led him to one answer. Someone must have been injured or killed there. The thought of that gave him chills. At this point, he had them tied up. The boy yelled that those people had seen it coming because if they didn't take advantage of the boss, they wouldn't have fallen for it. The girl agreed and stated that they never tricked good people. Deep inside, Xiaoling got offended that they think of him as a bad guy. Qin stated that in the apocalypse, everyone just wants to survive and they can't be blamed for that. He agreed to that. Then he stated that now she's in his hands, he can do whatever he decides to do, and he can't be blamed. She asked him what he wanted to do. He replied that it had been a long time since he had fresh meat, and it's going to be a day that he'll have one. The children panicked when they thought that he's going to eat them. It was his payback because they questioned his good looks. She told him that if he's going to eat someone, it should be her. She begged him to let the kids go. The kids had tears pooled on the side of their eyes while they convinced him to eat them instead. Xiaoling was confused on what's going on. Since those three are acting lovey-dovey, it's making him look like a bad guy. Then, out of nowhere, the girl coughed. The boy got worried for her. Qin told Xiaoling that Ling was hurt, and tying her up like that makes it difficult for her to breathe. He thinks they are tricking him into losing the rope so they can stab him. Ling coughed loudly. He commented that the girl's acting skills are better than Qin. The boy told him that they are not lying. Qin complains that if it continues, she'll die. He asked the system to check. It enveloped Ling with light, then informed him that the girl has a severe infection in her body, and it's already spreading. If she doesn't get treatment, she won't survive more than 3 days. She coughed blood, which shocked Xiaoling. He cut the rope, and the girl fell. They removed her top, which revealed her bandaged chest. The bandages were getting soaked with blood. Xiaoling saw the wound from a gunshot. He questioned who would be cruel enough to do that to a child. Chin replied that it was the Thunder Legion. She narrated that the kid's mother was a regular at her store, and when the apocalypse broke out, their family was buying milk tea at her store. She watched a lot of apocalyptic films before, and when she saw someone biting someone on the street, she immediately felt something was wrong, so she closed the store. Soon, the news reported that it was a zombie virus outbreak, telling everyone not to go out, so those customers were stuck there. At first, everyone was still united and encouraged each other to wait for rescue. But as those days passed, food became scarce, and people's true nature began to be exposed. A man blatantly took a woman's share of food. The man reasoned that the child was so small, so there's no reason for them to get the same amount as an adult. He told them that the three of them can share one portion. The mother tells him that her daughter was sick and can't go on without food. She begged him to give the food back. The man argues that the kid won't live 2 more days looking like that. And even if she eats, it would be a waste, so it's better to give it to someone else. The boy yelled that the food was for his sister. Then he bit the man's arm. The man got angry that he dared to bite him and told him that he would kill him. Chin tripped the man, and she caught the boy. She scolded him for taking others' food. The man argues that the tiny piece of bread isn't even enough. He questioned her if she wanted them to starve to death. She replied that she doesn't owe them anything, and if he wants supplies, there is plenty of food outside so he can go out and find them himself. She mocked him, saying that he's a coward who can only fight children and not zombies. That made the man angry. An old woman agreed that a little bit of food isn't enough to feed everyone and asked her if she could give everyone a little more. A couple added that they will just repay her after the end of the world. She explained that it's a milk tea shop and not a supermarket. She had taken out all the food that they had. A woman questioned her if that's true because she's suspicious of what's inside the locked door. She simply replied that it's the changing room. The woman pushed her to open it, but she didn't see its sense. Those people pressured her to open it. They called her selfish for eating alone while everyone else starved. The kid's mother told them to stop. She reasoned that they wouldn't have survived that long if it weren't for her. The man argued that he would have gone home a long time ago. The old woman stated that if they had left early, they might have already been rescued and evacuated to a safe zone by the government army. She told them that if they want to leave, they could go now. The man got angry and called her arrogant. They held her down while the man broke open the door. The man pushed it with all his might as he tried to prove something. The door opened, and he saw that it only contained clothes. He was confused because it was just a milk tea shop, and yet there were so many skirts in there. The old woman judges her to be indecent. The woman clings to her boyfriend while saying that good girls don't dress like that and assumes that she's seducing someone. Chin told them that they are going too far. Unexpectedly, an explosion happened. A car crashed into the shop. It had a specific badge. A one-eyed guy alighted the car and announced that people were in there. The man asked who they were. They introduced themselves as the Thunder Legion and threatened to kill them if they didn't hand over their food. The man got scared and reasoned that he was just passing by. Then he pointed at Chin, saying that she hid all the food. The others alighted the car. They were pleased to see that there's more than one woman. One of them even commented that it has been a long time since he saw such a beautiful woman. One of them claims that they could have a feast. Chin grabbed the kids and yelled at them to run. The girlfriend was taken and she begged her boyfriend to save her, but her boyfriend sold her out to save his skin. A man grabbed Chin. She took out a pocket knife and tried to slash the man while cursing at him. The man was surprised that she had a knife. In anger, he pointed the gun at her. The girl went in front of her to protect her and got shot. The mother, Chin, and Lei turned pale upon witnessing that. The one-eyed man scolded the guy for shooting because it will attract zombies. The one-eyed man killed the other woman by shooting her at the head. Then he ordered them to evacuate immediately while leaving nothing behind. They covered the truck as it pulled away. One man pointed his gun at Chin and Lei. The mother grabbed this man while telling them to run away quickly. Lei got worried for his mother. Chin was surprised by her actions. The man hit the mother on the head to shake her off, but she clings to him. She left her kids to Chin's care. Chin grits her teeth and grabs Lei while holding Ling on the other hand. Then she smashed the window. The mother saw the bombs on the man's waist, and she made that explode. Back to the present time, she told Xiaoling that she promised their mother that they would protect them and to survive. She can only use that method. But Ling's injuries were getting worse day by day. She cried and apologized. She blamed herself. Ling wiped her tears away and told her that she's not in any pain, and if she dies, she'll be with her mother. She told her that she won't die. Lei was scared that he'll be left alone too. The system expressed that their situation is so pitiable. Xiaoling argues that they are pitiable now, but they didn't show any mercy when killing him earlier. But he's aware that in an apocalypse, taking care of 2 children is not only a burden, but also increases a lot of unnecessary trouble and the risk of death. The fact that Qin had persisted until then only shows that she has a conscience. Xiaoling asked if the system has medicine in its inventory. He wondered if there's anything that can treat the child. The system replied that there is, but it requires unlocking a higher level space to use it, and Xiaoling doesn't have the necessary permissions. He teased the system, saying that it was just expressing how pitiable those people are, and yet it can't save them. He taunted it to be more flexible. The system knows that he's trying to trick him again in making an exemption to upgrade his permissions. Xiaoling was seen through. He realized that the system was clever. The system told him that flexibility isn't an option, but it could find a way. It stated that the second function of the food stall is that the food made by the stall owner has healing effects. Xiaoling smiled and told him that he should have said that earlier. He asked what other surprises the precious items held. The system clarified that the specific healing effect is related to the stall owner's level. The higher the level, the better the healing effect. With his current level, it will just depend on luck. He had no choice but to give it a try. He wondered what he could make with the limited ingredients. He thought of something. He cracked the egg, kneaded the dough, and seasoned it. Then he turned on the stove. The smell was so great that it made Lei drool. Then he served the food. Qin asked her what he's trying to do. He explained that it's not poisonous. He gave the egg waffle to Ling and shared that it was his favorite food when he was a child. He encouraged her to try it. She smiled and thanked him. It was delicious, fragrant, and sweet, which she liked. But also she felt something. So she tried to stand up. Qin told her she can't do that yet, but she replied that she doesn't feel any pain at all. Qin touched her forehead and confirmed that her fever was gone and the wounds are starting to heal. Lei was glad that his sister wouldn't die. Qin could tell that it was because of the egg waffle. She asked him what he placed inside the egg waffle because she knew that there's no medicine that can reduce fever that quickly. She inquired if it was his special ability. Xiaoling replied that he can't tell her. He also clarified that Ling was only showing initial improvement, and for her complete recovery, she needs to continue eating egg waffles that he made for a long period of time. He told them that for this time, it was free, but the next ones will be charged. Qin told him that it wasn't a problem as long as Ling would be healed. She offered them all of their stocks, but he replied that he had a lot of food, so he doesn't need any of those. He stated that he wants Qin. Lei commented that as expected, he doesn't have any good intentions on Qin. Ling told him that she doesn't want his treatment anymore, as long as he doesn't hurt Qin. Qin watched those 2 brats while wondering what they were thinking about all day. He clarified that he wants her to work for him as an employee at his snack stand. And as an employee benefits, he will provide her food and lodging. They talked among themselves. Lei expressed that even if they don't understand that person's special ability, he's amazing. Qin added that if she follows him, she can eat and drink for free without worrying about food. Ling agreed that it's a good deal. She agreed on the condition that she could take Lei and Ling with her. Xiaoling was starting to regret his decision. Then Qin shoved a contract on him while saying that even if there is an apocalypse, employment conditions still need to be clearly stated, and everything must follow the contract. He read the terms and conditions like 9 to 5 work hours, social insurance, housing fund, double pay on weekends, holiday, overtime pay, perfect attendance bonus, 13th month salary. It annoyed him and sarcastically replied that she might as well get paid for using the restroom. She added that the treatment of child labor needs to be calculated separately. Their conversation got interrupted when they heard someone say that the aroma is coming from them. The window was broken using a chainsaw. Several armed men entered, and the leader stated that just as he expected, someone was there. The man got excited when he saw the egg waffles. He proudly stated that his nose wasn't wrong. Lei protected his sister and yelled that it belonged to his sister. Xiaoling also stepped in. The man got alarmed and assumed that he wanted to fight, but Xiaoling was friendly with them, and as the owner of the snack stand, he told them that he will make one for them if they want to eat. The guy told his boss that he wants to eat. The boss thought about it. He asked how much the egg waffles cost. With their demeanor, Xiaoling could tell that they have quite a background, and they must have a lot of crystal cores too. He decided to take the opportunity to complete the task in one go. He gave them the menu. The man was surprised that an egg waffle costs 10 crystal cores. It was so expensive that it made him question if it was made of gold. Xiaoling explained that the apocalypse isn't easy, and every grain of rice and flour were earned with lives, so with his pricing, it was already cheap. The boss replied that they could start with that. They threatened him that if it didn't taste good, they would smash both him and the cart. Xiaoling replied that whether it's good or not wasn't up to them. It angered them. Qin grabbed the arm of the boss and explained that the owner doesn't know how to talk like a gentleman, so she requested them not to be angry with him. The boss blushed when he saw her. His nose released smoke. He's comparable to a malfunctioning robot when he was flustered. But Qin continued to tease him by touching his chest muscles and saying that it was big. His subordinates could tell that his old problem is showing up again. They knew that as soon as he sees a beautiful woman, his brain stops working and he stutters. Qin invited them inside since it will take a while to make the egg waffles. Then she blinked at Xiaoling. Xiaoling told himself that hiring her was the right choice. He stood behind the counter and started making the egg waffles. Everyone smelled it and was already pleased with it. It turned out nice and hot. They started eating. Xiaoling and Qin anticipated their reaction. The boss blushed as he expressed that it was delicious. His men commented that it was the taste of childhood. It felt nostalgic. The boss gave him a pouch of bag while commending his skills. Then he asked him what else he had besides egg waffles. He confidently replied that there's a lot more, like fried chicken, grilled skewers, and spicy hot pot, plush, teppanyaki squid, and large sausages. Just the mention of those foods made some of them drool. Then he added pancakes, fried dough sticks, tofu pudding, Coca-Cola, beet, and sour plum soup. The mention of those made the kids hungry. The boss told him to stop talking and he'd take 10 of each. But he expressed that he only has flour and eggs, and to make those foods, he needs a lot of ingredients which are hard to find. The boss replied that it's simple, and whatever ingredients he needs, he can get them for him. Xiaoling had observed his confidence. Qin whispered that they might be the doomsday merchants. If they could get them to supply the goods, they won't have to risk finding ingredients by themselves. Xiaoling told them that he wasn't sure what the price of ordering the ingredients were, but despite that, he offered them a long-term cooperation. Qin asked for a discount and promised that in the future they won't charge him when he comes to visit. The men looked at each other when they heard her call the boss Big Brother. They laughed so hard because of that. Qin and Xiaoling pouted at their reaction. Then the boss looked for Ahu and the others because they had been gone for so long. One of his men replied that he already sent someone to look for them. He left marks on the road so they will find themselves back. A machine could be seen near them, and one of the guys came running to the boss. The man informed the boss that Ahu and the others were injured. Those men were assisted inside. Xiaoling recognized them. The boss asked them who did that to them. They replied that they didn't know. One of them described that it was a kid selling snacks at a stall and said that he was the chosen one. The boss replied that it was nonsense because there was no such thing in that world. One of them added that if there would be one, it should be their boss. The man explained that at first they didn't believe it, but the kid was very strange, and all their attacks were reflected back. He added that the kid blasted Ahu into his current state. Upon hearing that, the boss asked if it was a superhuman. One of the guys replied that he had never heard of such an ability. Qin found it strange too, but she remembered that she experienced it too. She glanced at Xiaoling. He was already sneaking out. Qin was right. It was him. The boss uttered that no matter who he is, anyone who dares to mess with his people will die. They were all shocked. Qin asked him if he's Lei Hong, the leader of the Thunder Legion. His men replied yes, and seeing their reaction, they can conclude that they are quite famous. Hong told them that for the sake of the egg waffles, they can come to him when they encounter any trouble in the future. Then he told them that the previous proposal was difficult to consider. Upon learning that he was the leader of that group, the kids charged at him with anger and called him a bad guy because it was his people who injured his sister and killed his mother. He grabbed them on their clothing and asked them who their mother was. One of the men replied that they must be mistaken because even if they are bandits, they never harm women and children. But Qin doesn't believe them, and she charges at Hong while telling him to let the kids go. The kids were thrown in the air as he bends backwards to avoid her kick. Lei crashed on the ground and Ling landed on his back. Qin continued to attack, but he skillfully evades her. He kicked him some more. Hong's men just watched with amusement. They acknowledge that she has skills, but the boss has that problem of getting shy when he touches a woman. He can't bring himself to fight her. He noticed that his subordinates just watched him struggle and didn't even help him. They even told him to face his psychological issue on his own to overcome it. He ducked to evade another kick. Meanwhile, something on the ceiling watched them. Its tentacles started to come out. Xiaoling was entertained with the showdown, but he realized that instead of worrying about others, he counted how many times he used the protection. He used it twice, so he only had one chance left. To avoid accidental injury, he decided to return to a safe area. The guys saw him and identified him as the chosen one. The boss turned his attention towards him. He grabbed Qin's leg and threw her away. Then he made his way towards Xiaoling. One of his subordinates restrained Qin. Hong was infuriated that he hit his brothers and took his crystal cores. He mentioned that he hadn't played that game in a long time. Xiaoling tried to explain that it was a misunderstanding. Hu and the rest told the boss not to listen to him. They stated that the kid was just pretending to be weak to catch the strong, and they had underestimated him because of that. Lei yelled that Big Brother is not weak. In fact, he's amazing. Ling added that he is 100 times better than the boss. Qin added that the owner is a real man, unlike some people who were only good for show and can't even beat a woman. Hong got angrier. Xiaoling was panicking at this point. He yelled at them to stop talking. Hong challenged him to show what he can do. He punched the ground, and it shattered. Debris flew everywhere. This right here is the strength of the leader of Thunder Legion. Hong exudes powerful energy. He looks so strong. Qin couldn't believe that the hard concrete floor was shattered in just one punch. The kids started to get scared of him. One of the subordinates uttered that superhuman powers are already monstrous, but their boss is one of the best. Xiaoling knew that if that punch landed, even if it was just a graze, his bones would probably shatter. The boss tried to punch him again. He asked him what he was staring at when he was arrogant just a minute ago. He taunted him to show what he got. He was quite offended being called weaker than a woman. Xiaoling blocked his fist using his forearms. He was blasted on the other side of the room, and the collision on the wall made him cough blood. Hong noticed how he took a punch from him and didn't turn into mush, which could mean that he isn't an ordinary person. But he told him that he's still far from being his match. The kids got worried for him. They knew that he couldn't hold on. They became sad that they won't be able to eat egg waffles anymore. Qin replied that if the owner dies, everything in the cart will be theirs. Xiaoling was shocked with their thoughts. He called them the real bandits. Hong pointed out how Xiaoling's own people had given up on him, and it doesn't seem fitting for a chosen one. He called him a lunatic for reading too many novels. Xiaoling got blasted away again. He was in pain, his torso was already bleeding. He knew that simply dodging isn't a solution. Facing him head-on, even with increased strength, wouldn't do much damage as well. He started to think that there's no chance of winning, but he thought of the cart. He planned to use its shield, and when Hong attacked him with great force, it would reflect it back to him. He only had one chance. He ran towards the cart. Hong thought he was running away and urged him to face his death like a man. He got close to him and slid between his legs while grabbing his pants down. Hong blushed. Everyone else was dumbfounded. The subordinates held back their laughter. Xiaoling was glad that it was a success. Hong's anger heightened. He was ready to kill him. Lei saw the knife on the man's back. He moved fast and hit the man on the balls, causing the man to drop Qin. Then, Lei grabbed the knife. He planned to kill them to avenge his mother. Ling and Qing got worried for him. The man was about to fire his gun. He told the boss to watch out. Xiaoling called him a bastard and reminded them that they said they wouldn't hit women and children. He grabbed the edge of the cart and pushed it. Lei saw the cart coming towards him. It deflected the bullet. Meanwhile, he's left on the ground, while Hong was already at an arm's length ready to kill him. Xiaoling was thinking that he finally had the chance to be a main character, but it just got ruined. In his head, he complained that bratty kids are the worst. He braced himself for the punch. Then a large explosion followed. Unexpectedly, a woman appeared. It was the zombie girl from earlier. The zombie girl jumped inside, and she dashes forward. She stepped at Hong and glared at him. Hong saw her breasts and blushed. He was caught off guard with the woman. Xiaoling remembers her. She punched Hong at the torso and blasted him away to the other side of the room. It was such a powerful punch that it caused an explosion. Black smoke and debris covered the area. The subordinates were surprised that their boss was knocked down. They questioned where the woman came from. One of the guys from before yelled that she's a zombie and they had caught her before. They grabbed their weapons and fired at her. They were careful not to get bitten by her. She skillfully jumped around to evade the bullets. They saw that she's not an ordinary zombie. One of them realized that it was a mutant. She landed on the roof of the cart. A muscular man charged at her with a large weapon similar to an axe. Xiaoling told them they could fight, but they had to leave his cart alone. He shoved it so that it wouldn't get caught up in the fire. The man that he roasted earlier got angry. He targeted her with a bazooka gun. Xiaoling yelled, "No," loudly, but he fired at her while she's on the roof of the cart. She saw the grenade coming. It made her leapt out of the cart. Then she grabbed the cart and pulled it. Xiaoling praised her for that. The grenade exploded on a vacant spot. Meanwhile, Hong was angered that he was ambushed. He planned to defeat her even if she was a woman. But to his surprise, a plank fell on his head. The subordinates who witnessed it were dumbfounded. Hong asked his subordinate where he was aiming. The man explained that he didn't mean to do that. He blamed the people for being too cunning. Hong ordered them to attack. One of them fired at Xiaoling. The others fired at the woman crossing between the gunshot. Xiaoling pulled his cart while running away. He's worried that it might be damaged. While Qin grabbed the kids and ran with him. She couldn't believe that he's still worried about the broken cart. He agreed that they run while the zombie handles them, otherwise they would get shot. Lei expressed that it's best for the bastards to get eaten by the zombie. The zombie woman glanced behind her. She saw them running away, and this zombie waifu got mad. She grabbed a pole, and she took a piece of the metal tube. She threw it in the air, and the man who was firing got hit. The trajectory of the machine gun changed. Xiaoling, Qin, and the kids hid behind the cart, while Hong's men ran away because they would get shot too. They yelled for someone to stop the machine gun because dying at the hands of their own people sucks. Eventually, the machine gun ran out of ammo. They were relieved that it finally stopped. Hong's subordinates looked for the female zombie. Xiaoling and the rest peeked from the cart too and saw that there's no movement. So Xiaoling told them that it was their chance to run. He didn't notice that the zombie woman appeared upside down on his side. She opened her mouth. Then she saw Xiaoling and the rest running away. They thought she was going to eat them. Zombie waifu was confused. Meanwhile, the creature with tentacles on the ceiling watched Xiaoling run. The zombie woman sensed it. She chased after him. Xiaoling cried rivers as he couldn't understand why she was chasing him. The tentacles appeared, and it went for Xiaoling. The zombie woman saw it. So she immediately blocked it and protected him. That caught him off guard. Instead of him, the zombie woman was grabbed instead. Xiaoling turned towards her and they saw each other eye to eye. But his expression turned into worry, because the zombie woman was slammed to the ground. Slimy liquid dripped from the ceiling, and the creature jumped down. It was a gigantic octopus. Hong knew it was a mutant. Everyone opened fire. The giant octopus simply swats away the bullets. The zombie woman bled heavily, and Xiaolong ran towards her. She was unconscious. Qin expressed that it seemed like she was protecting him. Xiaolong wondered why. She raised her first and opened her mouth while making a weak ah noise. When she opened her fist, it revealed a wrapper. Xiaolong knew it was from the time they met. He threw her the chip like she's a dog waiting for a treat. He asked her if she came specifically just to give him that. She only made ah noises again. Lei asked if she could understand what they were saying. Xiaoling asked the system if she really was a zombie. He was confused because her actions resemble those of a human. The system scanned her. Then it informed Xiaoling that she has the zombie virus, and research shows that certain mutants, due to special evolution, can regain partial brain function and exhibit intelligent behavior. Their IQ is comparable to that of a smart animal or a 4 or 5-year-old child. She groaned. Qin saw how much she's in pain. Lei asked if zombies can feel pain. Ling wondered if she's going to die. Lei was confused because he thought zombies only died when their heads were smashed. Ling cried and expressed that the zombie woman was a good zombie because she doesn't bite people and he saved the owner. She didn't want her to die. Qin replied that her spine was broken, and even if she was a zombie, if she couldn't move, it's almost the end of her. Xiaoling blamed himself for what happened to her. He thought of ways to help her recover. He wondered if egg waffles would help. The system informed him that the function is only effective for humans. To repair other creatures, the host needs to complete tasks to obtain special items. He was ready for the task. The system told him to acquire one level 2 crystal core within 24 hours. A level 2 crystal core was equivalent in value to 100 ordinary crystal cores. It is only found in evolved zombies or mutant beasts. So he thought of killing the large octopus. Hong and his men continuously fired at the mutant beast. It protected its head using its tentacles. One of Hong's men stated that it was too big and the bullets couldn't even penetrate it. The man with the bazooka told them that he would handle it. He fired one. The mutant beast saw it coming. It wrapped its tentacles on the grenade. The man who shot it was confident that it would blast it to bits. But after a while, there was no movement. They told him that his cannon misfired, but he thinks that it's impossible. The mutant beast slowly untangled its tentacles. It showed the cannon shell completely empty. They couldn't believe that it caught the cannonball using its mouth. The mutant beast was angered. It moved its tentacles and hit them all. Then it released green liquid. The man was impressed. But that liquid was actually painful. Hong yelled at them to move away because the liquid was corrosive. He put a boulder in front of them to block it. He lifted it up. It was like an umbrella shielding them from the rain of corrosive liquid. Hong gathered his strength. The tentacle targeted the block and swats it with its tentacles. The corrosive liquid dripped on the block. They were surprised to see that the concrete slab had melted. They knew they wouldn't last, so they told the boss to leave and not worry about them. But Hong told them to shut up. He stayed strong. The veins in his arms bulged. His feet dig on the ground. To their surprise, a tentacle pierced through the concrete slab, and it grabbed the man who shot the cannonball. He sought the boss help. Hong cursed out loud when he saw one of his guys. He exuded a powerful energy from his body. The energy spread around him. He puts down the concrete slab and yells at the mutant beast to let his subordinate go. He moved quickly, and he jumped up high. He grabbed one of the tentacles and was determined to tear it apart. He lays his hand flat on it, but it was too slippery. He couldn't get a good grip. The mutant beast shook him off. Then, when he was falling, it fired the corrosive liquid at him. He knew he was doomed. Unexpectedly, Xiaoling charges forward while wearing his raincoat. He ran through the tentacle. The mutant beast fired the corrosive liquid at him, but he just kept going. Hong's subordinates watched and their jaws fell. They wondered how he was okay. Meanwhile, Hong was confused because there was no fluctuation of superpower from the kid. He was starting to believe that the kid was really a chosen one. Xiaoling evades the tentacles. He ducked to avoid it, then he jumped up high and stepped backwards. He leapt again. This time he's holding his dagger and was in a position to stab the mutant beast. He hits the cannonball in its mouth and pushes it in. It got lit, and he rams away. Eventually it started exploding. It was a huge explosion. The body of the mutant beast was blown into pieces. It laid on its own pool of blood. It was a gruesome scene. Xiaoling removed his raincoat. He was happy with it because it had been very useful. It perfectly isolates the impact of explosions. He sees it as amazing high-tech stuff. He asked the system if it can bring a few more next time. The system replied that the rewards are all randomly selected, but as long as he performs well, there are plenty of opportunities. He watched the corpse. He grabbed something out of it. It was the second-level crystal core. The system congratulated him on completing the mission. He had obtained the second-level crystal core and 1 healing candy as a reward. The effect is healing with no restrictions. Plus, as a bonus, he received an apocalypse cooking guidebook. He got curious on what the cooking guidebook is for. The system explained that there are many mutated creatures, and plants in the apocalypse are edible once the virus-infected parts are removed. However, most people don't know this, or are too scared to eat them. So, the book details the body structures and cooking methods, making it an essential guide for setting up a stall and cooking gourmet food in the apocalypse. It was a good item, so he decided to keep it. He approached the injured zombie woman and made her eat a pill. She chewed it. Then she opened her eyes. She regained her full strength, too. Ling was happy that she's alive again. Qin couldn't believe that he managed to take down the mutated octopus all by himself. She was thinking that just a moment ago, he looked scared, and now it seemed like he's like a different person. She wondered if he's hiding his strength. The zombie woman faced him and opened her mouth and pointed at it while saying, "Ah, ah." He scolded her and told her that it's not a game, yet she got addicted to it. But it seemed like she didn't understand. Ling joined in, saying that she wants to play too. Upon witnessing that scene, Qin realized how unreliable he was. Xiaoling threw chips in the air, and the zombie woman caught it like a dog. Ling laughed at them. Qin saw them and acknowledged that he has a good heart, and he's someone that can be trusted. Lei warned Ling to stay away from the zombie woman, though. He was cautious because she's a zombie and she might bite. The zombie woman turned to them and approached them. She crouched so she could see them eye to eye. Her eyes sparkled. She was looking at the crumbs on Ling's face, then she licked her like a dog. Ling laughed while saying that it tickles. Then she turned her gaze to Lei. Lei blushed as he ran away. He yelled that he's a boy, so she should be ashamed. Ling teased her brother for blushing. Hong called them. Since Xiaoling cured the zombie, he expects him to cure his brother. A lot of them were hurt and bleeding. One of them was unconscious. Xiaoling inspected one of them and stated that it was very serious, since the skin had completely rotted. The bones and the organs had been visible. It looked gruesome. Hong replied that he could see it. He urged Xiaoling to hurry and heal it. Xiaoling glared at him and asked if he's ordering him. Then he stated that it hurt him so much when he hit him earlier, so there was no reason for him to help him. Hong told him that he could name the number of crystal cores that he wants. Xiaoling replied that he won't hold back. He was surprised when a hand tapped his shoulder. Qin pushed him away and yelled at Hong that he wouldn't treat them. The children appeared from behind her and yelled that they were thieves and murderers. Hong insisted that even if they are thieves, they have principles, and they don't kill those who can't fight back. He stated that if their mom was killed by one of his men, then it means that their mother hasn't been a good person. Of course, the children refused to believe that. They argued that they are the real bad guys. Qin told Hong not to argue. She knew that he's only saying that for his men to be healed and afterwards they would kill them. She refused to be fooled. Xiaoling stated that he's telling the truth. Qin and the children couldn't believe it. Their expression is a mix of surprise and disappointment. Xiaoling picked up something and asked Lei if it was his. Lei replied yes and explained that it was the symbol of that group. He always carried it with him to remind himself not to forget what they look like. The man with the eye patch lives on his memories. Xiaoling showed him the dagger he picked up from their group. He compared the badge and stated that although the patterns above are very similar, but the lightning at the center was placed in an opposite direction. Qin looked at it closely and saw that the design is quite different. Lei could tell that the other one was clearly more designed while the other one looked like a child's doodle. Upon hearing that, Hong felt embarrassed. He got defensive that it wasn't a doodle, it's a rugged and bold style. Xiaoling explained that he encountered many groups before that robbed under someone else's banner, creating animosity for the real ones. He told Lei that the group they encountered must have been fake. Qin and the kids were surprised to hear that. Hong realized that it must be the reason why a few groups attacked them out of nowhere, as if they had a deep-seated grudge. He was triggered that someone had been messing with them. Lei was angry that those liars weren't the Thunder Corps at all. Ling asked who they're supposed to seek revenge on now. Qin told them that revenge is not something children should worry about. More than anything, their mother would want them to live well. The kids seemed confused. Hong was angry since those bastards had tarnished his reputation. He vowed that if he ever meets them, he'll tear them into pieces. The masked man coughed blood. Hong was alarmed to see his brother like that. Since things had been cleared up, he asked if Xiaoling could proceed in treating his brothers. He knew that if they delay any further, they will die. Xiaoling told him that it would be 10 crystal cores per person. It wasn't a problem for him. He threw the pouch to Xiaoling, then Xiaoling told him to wait for a bit as he got ready. There were cracked eggs at the counter. It looked like it was unintentional. Xiaoling saw it and sighed. He remembered that it cracked earlier when he hid behind the cart during the firing. He told Hong that he had an incident and he'll just return the crystal cores to him. Naturally, Hong would get mad. Xiaoling took back what he said and explained that he was just trying to lighten the mood a bit. He could only cry after learning that he doesn't have any eggs to make an egg waffle. He realized that being a good person comes with consequences. He decided to check the cooking guidebook. His eyes sparkled because he found the right recipe. He was so happy. He thought about what he could make with flour, oil, and some seasonings. He had a light bulb moment. He took a portion of the mutant beast's body. He washed it and cut off the membrane and suction cups, keeping only the clean fish meat inside. Then he marinated it with seasonings to remove the fishy smell. Then he prepared the batter to a flowing consistency, added the meat, and mixed it well. He continuously stirred the pot and poured it in the takoyaki pan. When one side had been cooked thoroughly, he flipped it to the other side. Then he added the tomato salad dressing. He used crushed potato chips as a substitute for bonito flakes. After that, he presented the takoyaki. He offered it to Hong's men while saying that eating it would help them recover. They got angry, though. Since he used the mutated beast for food, they think he has other intentions. They thought that he's making them die faster. On the other hand, Hong was curious if it can really be eaten. Xiaoling slightly looked offended and asked them if they hadn't read any martial arts novels. In those novels, when there's a poisonous snake, there's an antidote within 5 steps. He added that since he had collected the crystal cores, refund isn't an option. They could just eat it or not. The masked man smelled it and expressed that it smelled great. He decided to eat it. He reasoned that even if he dies, he'd at least enjoy the taste first. He was shocked after he had eaten it. The taste was unexpected. He covered his mouth. He looked like he was sick. Hong told Xiaolong that if anything happens to his brother, he won't forgive him. The zombie woman got in front of Xiaoling to protect him. Hong told her not to come any closer. The masked man made a groaning noise. Eventually, he claimed that it was delicious. The masked man described the takoyaki having a surface that is fragrant, soft, glutinous, like clouds wrapping around his body. He added that the fish was bouncy and smooth. With every bite, he felt like elves were dancing on the tip of his tongue. It was like he's in clouds walking towards the little octopus. He also felt a vast ocean with surging waves that impacted the soul. In short, it was simply delicious. His brothers looked at him with disbelief. They decided to eat some too, so they requested a serving from Xiaoling. They took a bite and their faces portrayed pure bliss. The man whom Xiaoling roasted a few days ago gave some to the blonde man that was with them. He took a bite and was shocked. He saw his wound getting healed and the pain he's feeling was gone. He was amazed. Even his previous injuries were being healed too. He asked if it was the effect of the octopus meat. Xiaoling replied that if he added some ingredients to his portion, he could take it as a special offer. Xiaoling realized a loophole. He knew his current strength isn't enough to fight against those with abilities. If they find out about the system, they will exploit him until the end. Hong called him. It terrified him because he thought he had been discovered. Hong admitted that he didn't expect him to be that good. Xiaoling felt relieved that he's all brawn and no brains, so he managed to fool him. Xiaoling brought up the topic about their collaboration, and Hong responded that he will consider it. They advised their boss not to listen to him because they were injured because of him, and that he should be held responsible instead. Xiaoling argues that it's natural that he'd resist since they were robbing his stall. Those 3 men proudly replied that they are robbers by nature, so seeing him with so much food, of course, they'd take it. They claimed that they are just doing what they love, and it was their professional ethics. Hong was proud to hear that from them. Xiaolong asked about the zombie woman which they had in the sack earlier. Their actions opposed their claim of not laying a hand on women and children. He argues that even if she turned into a zombie, she's still a girl. He asked them what they planned when they put her in the sack. Those 3 avoided his gaze and replied that they did it for the boss. Xiaoling commented that they're so twisted. Qin was shocked that they wouldn't even spare zombies. Lei covered Ling's ears so she couldn't listen to that conversation. Even the masked man doubted his boss. One of them explained that they saw him talking to Ah Long alone before. Hong got embarrassed and yelled at them that he didn't do that, so they should stop talking nonsense. He claims that it had nothing to do with him. He got angry. He told his men to explain. The roasted man told him that it's their collaborative work. The blonde man explained that the boss gets nervous around beautiful women and still doesn't have a girlfriend, so they wanted to find a pretty female zombie for him to cure his fear of women. The skeleton-looking guy insists that they meant well. Hong doesn't believe their good intentions. To him, it seemed like they saw him as some kind of pervert. Those 3 admitted that they were wrong. The system notified Xiaoling that the task time was up. He was told to promptly hire a shop assistant and complete the task. He didn't notice that it had been 2 hours already. He told the system that he already hired Qin as a shop assistant, so the task should have been completed already. The system explained that it doesn't count yet, because employing a shop assistant requires both parties to sign an agreement and the assistant to wear the designated uniform for it to be valid. It was his first time hearing about the shop uniforms. He started thinking about sexy uniforms like a maid, a nurse, or a bunny suit. It made him drool while his cheeks were flushed. The system looks at him with judgment as it clarified that they are a legitimate system and they wouldn't issue such clothes. He got the uniform, and it was obvious how disappointed he was. He complained that it was such a plain style. Xiaoling told Qin that as a shop assistant, she needs to dress cleanly, neatly, and distinctly so that the customers can recognize her at a glance. Therefore, he's requiring her to wear a uniform. Lei wondered if even the kids had to wear them. Qin commented that it was such a hassle. Xiaoling reasoned that their clothes were dirty so they could change to that instead. Qin started undressing. Xiaoling panicked and yelled at her to go inside and change because there were so many people there. But those people liked it, so they suggested that they shouldn't pay attention to small details. Qin expressed that the clothing was too tight and her chest couldn't fit in it. She asked for a bigger size. Hong heard her and blushed. Then he fainted. Xiaoling tries to cover Qin while yelling at those men to be more sensible by closing their eyes. Unexpectedly, an egg thing fell on his head. It surprised him. Once he had it in his hands, he inspected it. He realized what it was. He saw Qin's body, and it was a muscular male body, and what he's holding was breast padding. Qin showed his body with a smug expression on his face. Xiaoling was spooked. He was surprised to learn that he was a man. Qin replied that he never said that he was a woman. Xiaoling inquired why he's dressed like that. It could make the people misunderstand. Hong's men realized that it was to pretend to be weak and lure enemies. One of them thought that it was really clever. He replied that it was just personal preference. Ling shared that he had many pretty dresses, but unfortunately, he couldn't bring them out. Lei supported that it's called cross-dressing. Xiaoling cried for his shattered imagination of office romance and uniform seduction. By his statement, Qin had proved that he was right. He was a pervert. The system informed Xiaoling that the countdown started. He was asked to complete the task as soon as possible. He was asked if he's certain of the target. He knew he didn't have much choice. He read the contract. He has to fill out the parts on the duration of labor, the probation period, and the specific position. It stated on Article 4 that Party A shall establish working hours, rest, and leave systems in accordance with the law. Party B shall abide by the working hours, rest, and leave systems established by Party A in accordance with the law, and shall work and follow the arrangement of overtime as needed. Xiaoling signed it. The zombie woman watches him as he does it. Then, he told Qin to sign. Qin noticed his expression. He looked really bummed. Qin told him that if it wasn't for his food, nobody would want to be his assistant. Deep inside, Xiaoling was thinking that others had bound their system to beautiful harems and reached the peak, while he was stuck raising kids with a man. He originally thought that nothing could be more miserable than his situation, until... When Qin was about to sign, the zombie woman ran towards them. She grabbed the contract using her mouth. Xiaoling was surprised. She ran away with the contract. Xiaoling stopped her and pulled the paper away from her mouth. She left a bite mark on the area where the Party B should sign, and the system informed him that the contract was signed. A mysterious aura then surrounded our zombie waifu. Her eyes glowed brightly. Then her clothes transformed. She looked really pretty. Her chest was emphasized on her clothes. Xiaoling couldn't believe it. He yelled that he didn't want to work with zombies. Sometime later, Qin clicked his tongue. He felt bad that he chose a zombie instead of a beauty like him. But since he got compensated, he didn't escalate the issue. In Xiaoling's head, there's no such thing as compensation since he didn't sign the contract. He was just exploiting him by threatening him that if he doesn't pay, he'd smash the cart. He looked around and told him that the place is no longer livable. He asked what his plans were. He replied that he already talked to the people from Thunder Legion Corps, and they are willing to take them. Lei added that Hong said he will teach him how to fight and shoot so he can protect Qin and her sister. Xiaoling was happy for them. He knew that even if the group was bandits, they weren't bad people, and with their protection, the kids would be safer. Ling gave him something. She told him that it fell from the zombie woman's clothes earlier when she was changing. He received the item. It was her ID. It showed that her name is Bai Feifei. Hong gave him a map and told him that it was their current base and they don't have plans to move, so if Xiaoling encountered any problems, he could come to him. He saw that it was the Qingshan prison. He couldn't help but think how the criminals exploited the place. He told Hong that he knew how to pick a place. Hong told him it was nice for its high walls, good protection, and nobody wanted to be inside before, so there's no place safer than that. Chin commented that Hong was truly smart. He added that he's not used to living with others, so he wanted his own room. Hong kept a distance from him and requested someone to bring him some men's clothes. He argues that he just wanted women's clothing. Xiaoling watches their truck leave. The kids peeked at the window and waved goodbye at him. The other men wished him to be safe and not get eaten by the zombies. They promised to come back and visit him. He waved back. When they were gone, he checked the ID again and kept it. Although he doesn't know what the future holds, he was determined to try and live. He told the zombie woman to take good care of him, but when he turned around, she had disappeared. He saw him eating the cart and yelled at her that it was not edible. There was a loud chewing noise. Since Fei Fei tried to eat the cart, Xiaoling tried to pull her away while yelling at her that it wasn't edible, but her bite on it was so strong. Xiaoling knew that the situation was bad. He kept pulling her away. Suddenly, his cart collapsed. Despair washed over his face. He was also confused since he hadn't used the rebound function, and yet it broke after just a few bites. Xiaoling complained that the cart was defective and he wants it to be replaced right away. The system told him to calm down while it raises the concern to the higher-ups. But its application was rejected. The system explained that according to the item description, the rebound function exists to protect the store's personnel and property. It only works against external attacks and it is ineffective against internal personnel. Since Fei Fei is already a store employee, any damage caused by her must be borne by the host. Xiaoling got mad that it didn't mention something so important earlier. Had he known, he'd rather choose the cross-dressing boss, which would be better than the human-shaped husky. He felt hopeless about his cart, since he had no idea how to fix it. The system told him that he's only 100 points away from upgrading the snack stand, and as long as he completes the task, he can upgrade the item. He told the system to release the task quickly. The system did as he was told. It revealed that on the next task, the host must replenish ingredients within 24 hours and collect 500 pounds of meat. Once he completed that, he'll receive a reward. 500 pounds was too much. In the apocalypse, it was hard to even find 5 pounds of fresh meat. He wondered where he could get 500 pounds. Then he remembered that there was a large poultry nearby. He checked the guidebook and read about the mutant native chicken. It had low combat power among mutant beasts. Its virus levies on the brain, internal organs, beak, and chicken feet, which can be eaten after removal. The breast and thigh meat are especially tender and rich in protein, suitable for replenishing strength. He found those chickens. They were noisy and restless. Xiaoling hid behind a wall while he took a peek at them. He noticed that the mutant chickens are larger, but they don't look much different from before the apocalypse, so he expects them to be easy to deal with. But the problem is that there are too many of them, and they need to find a way to separate them and take them down one by one. He glanced at Fei Fei. Then he planned to act as bait and have her take them down one by one. He asked her if she understood, and she nodded her head yes. Xiaoling heads out. Fei Fei's eyes sparkled as she watched him. Then she jumped up high. Xiaoling saw that she was heading in the opposite direction. He scolded her by telling her that it wasn't a game. Fei Fei jumped around, and she landed on a plant near the ceiling. The mutant chicken eyed Xiaoling. He knew he's doomed. He ran as fast as he could while the chicken chased after him. He almost got pecked. He complained that the system said it was low combat, but its claws are way too sharp and just one scratch and he's Siev. He called Fei Fei to help him. He reached the fence and had no way out. He shifted direction and saw a dent on the ground. He squeezed himself through it and made it to the other side. The chicken stopped before the fence and was in a frenzy because they couldn't get to him. The mutant chickens clucked loudly. Xiaoling was relieved that there was a hole in there as he almost got pecked to death by them. His hand touched something slimy and disgusting. Then he saw that there's a lot of eggshells around. Then he realized what it could be. A shadow was casted over him. The chicken towered over him, and it attacked him aggressively. He was surprised to see the adult mutant chicken. He immediately got out of the hole. He realized that he fell into the hen's nesting pit. He felt so unfortunate. On top of that, he can't use the rebound effect of his card at the moment. He ran for his dear life. He screamed out loud when he almost got pecked on his butt. Then the chicken positioned itself in front of him. He got worried about the eggshells from earlier. Since it was cracked, he assumed that the chicken wanted to take revenge. Its beak positioned on his male genital. He called it a pervy chicken. Then it tried to peck him in that area, but fortunately, he was able to duck low. He counterattacked using his twisted leg technique. He wrapped his legs around its neck. He refused to go down. So he squeezed its neck with his leg tightly. He grinned. The chicken stopped moving. And when it opened its eyes, it looked furious. Xiaoling was surprised that it wasn't dead yet. It threw him in the air, its neck was twisted, and he landed on its back. The chicken tried to shake him off, but he held onto it firmly. He yelled for someone to reattach the guy's head because it was so scary. He screamed out loud as it ran speedily. Meanwhile, a truck drove on the main street. Over the radio, they heard that Team 3, 1, and 2 had arrived at the base. Captain Huo was asked how things are going on his end. He held the radio close to his mouth. Then he reported over the radio that they are on the way back, and if nothing goes wrong, they should arrive the same day. There were 4 other men inside the truck with him. The man with the cap backwards shared that 2 vehicles returned empty-handed again, so he expects them to be jealous of the supplies they found. An old man with headphones on replied that it was because their captain was too timid and didn't dare to go to far places. The man with a beard added that their Captain Huo is smart and thinks about the food stored in the cellar. The man with the backward cap responded that it was a pity that all the people in that village turned into zombies and there was not a single survivor. In any case, since they have safely returned, it was worth celebrating. A wooden plank fell on their path. The truck stopped. Captain Huo asked about the situation. They got out of the truck to check. While this happened to them, Xiaoling screamed for help as he rode the mutant chicken's back. The wheel had no air. A middle-aged guy with a cigarette in his mouth told the others that the wheel was flat. A young man who wore his cap backwards told the captain that he's too tense. They had traveled that road so many times, and if there were any zombies, they would have encountered it already. A handsome man replied that it's better safe than sorry because the number of mutant species was increasing, especially in such open areas. He told them to stay vigilant all the time. The captain called Guo Ming and Gu Zhen to change the tire quickly while the rest stood guard with him. They all obeyed him. They stood on guard around the truck. While 2 men changed the wheel, a pink-haired guy with an eye mask questioned how there could be zombies on that road. The man with the baseball cap replied that it was his point earlier, and even if they encountered one, he believes that he could take them in one shot. They got bonked on the head. This was done by their driver, the man with a cigarette in his mouth. He scolded them for talking nonsense and told them that they had only been on a few missions, and now they think zombies are easy to deal with. The man with the eye patch apologized to him and admitted that they were wrong. The man with a baseball cap explained that they were all new, so they didn't know anything. He asked for his guidance in the future. This middle-aged man named Uncle Joe was touched, and he thinks they are clever, so he was willing to teach them. He informed them that among all the external teams, their 3rd team has the highest success rate and the least casualties every time they go on a mission. He asked them if they knew the reason why. He revealed that it's because Captain Huo has a lot of experience and was cautious. He told them that hot-headed people like them are the most likely to become cannon fodder. Under someone else's command, they would have died several times already. He added that being assigned to their team was a blessing from their ancestors. The man with the baseball cap realized how amazing Captain Huo was. The man with the eye mask knew they were so lucky, and he looked forward to learning a lot in the future. The man with the baseball cap informed them that he needed to relieve himself. Uncle Joe kicked him on the leg and told him to hurry up. There was a movement on the grass. Captain Huo sensed it. He asked them if they heard that sound, but the men shook their heads. He cautiously approached the grass. Meanwhile, the man with the baseball cap happily relieves himself. Little did he know that a monster with 4 eyes and a serpent-like tongue was nearby. He looked around when he heard the sound. When he saw nothing, he forgot about it. He was oblivious that a serpent-like monster was about to attack him from the tree. It eventually caught his attention. It opened its mouth wide opened, and he fell on his butt. Suddenly, it was hit. So it scurried away. The shot was fired by Captain Huo. He told them that there are mutated creatures, so they must get back to the car quickly. He asked the others if the tire had been replaced. Zhou replied yes. He couldn't believe that there's a mutated snake in the area. Those creatures don't make any sound, so they were difficult to detect. The man with the baseball cap apologized to the captain for being careless. The captain told them that the shot didn't cause much damage to it and it will be back soon. He ordered the car to start quickly. They all went inside the car. They drove away. The mutant snake appeared again, and it chased after them. It slithered underneath the truck, and when it rose, it threw the truck in the air, then it positioned itself. and wrapped its body around the truck. The back of the truck shook. Captain Huo realized that he wanted to crash the truck, so he ordered everyone to get out quickly. But the door was stuck and won't open. They asked the captain what to do. He covers for them while they break the glass. The driver told the captain that the fuel tank was leaking, and if he shot, they would explode. The man with an eye mask got worried that they'll die there. Unexpectedly, they saw a silhouette. They saw it. It flew in the sky. The man with the eye mask cried as he expressed that he's really going to die because he's seeing angels now. Joe told him that it was a chicken. Its looks were questionable, though. Then Captain Huo told them no, because he saw a person. They were surprised to see that someone was riding on a mutated chicken. Meanwhile, Xiaoling cries while asking how to make it stop. They all wondered who he was for being able to control mutated creatures. They thought that he must be an Esper, but the captain doesn't see it that way, because he could tell that it was the guy who was being controlled. The mutant snake saw them. The mutant chicken saw the mutant snake too, and it stopped on its track. It turned to the passenger on its back. It was about to grab Xiaoling. Xiaoling argued that he just sat on its egg accidentally, so he suggested that the chicken should just let it go. He threatened that he could kill a chicken using his bare hands. He clung to its neck and was ready to show off his butchering skills. He gripped tightly and disconnected the bones on its neck. Concurrently, the mutant snake attacked. It grabbed the chicken, and the chicken bled. Xiaoling was still holding on to the back of the chicken. He was relieved that his battle with the chicken was over. Then he got confused on why he's still in the air. He thought he was stuck on a utility pole. He jumped down and slid on the pole. But he noticed the sensation of the pole. Then the pole moved. When he looked up, he saw the mutant snake carrying the mutant chicken in its mouth. He turned pale when he saw it. He asked what it was. When he realized that it was a mutated snake, he immediately jumped away. The mutant snake swallowed the mutant chicken whole. The whole chicken's form could be seen on the mutant snake's esophagus, and it made its belly swell. Xiaoling slowly moved away from it, but it was already looking at him. He told it not to eat him since it just had a chicken and should still be full. The mutant snake moved closer to him. He stood there frozen, and when it opened its mouth widely, he ran as fast as he could. He started questioning his fate. Since it chased after him, the mutant snake unwrapped its body on the car, and the car landed safely on the ground. Those passengers felt blessed, and the driver told them that the car can still start. They got ready to get away, but Captain Huo told them no. They argued that if they don't leave at once, the snake might come back and the car won't withstand a second attack. They added that they are carrying a lot of supplies, and if they lose it, they will face military discipline. The captain replied that the person delivered the mutated snake for them, and if they left him and escaped, their integrity as a military was at stake. They had nothing to say to that. The military officers agreed. They knew that supplies aren't as important as lives, and if they lose it, they could still find some more. One of them added that even if they are new recruits, they have received professional training for so long so they won't run away from the battle. The driver stepped on the gas. They went after the kid. They were determined to fight head-on if it comes down to that. Meanwhile, at the barn, Feifei stepped out. She looked around and walked by the fence until she sensed something. 3 mutant chickens were charging towards her. She remembered what Xiaoling taught her. She grabbed the fence and threw it at those mutant chickens. She caged them using that. In the forest, the mutant snake continued to chase after Xiaoling. Xiaoling called the system to come out and help him. The system told him that even if it wanted to help, the shielding function cannot be used without the item, so he had no way. The mutant snake eventually got ahead of him and blocked his path. It wrapped around him and opened its mouth to eat him. He felt scared. So he decided that it's better that he passed out because it would be less painful. He closed his eyes and remained still as the snake approached him. The loud noises annoyed him. He complained about the chicken clucking so loudly that it was making his eardrums burst. It was those chickens wrapped in a fence. Feifei carried them. She jumped high and threw it on the mutant snake. It got hurt, so it untangled its body from Xiaoling. Then it fell. Xiaoling was happy to see Feifei. He told her that she came at the right time. But he told her that in the future, she needs to distinguish work and play so that kind of thing won't happen again. The system congratulated him for completing the task, and with that, the food stall has been upgraded. A blinding light appeared. Then it revealed his new stall. He got excited when he saw that it was actually a camper van. He loved its configuration. and the decoration. It was high-end. Even the toilet was nice. He celebrated and commented that the system had finally shown some generosity. He was happy that he wouldn't be living outdoors. The system answered that it had always been generous. And since Xiaoling completed the previous employment task, there's a special reward. It was a show-off skill card, which can greatly enhance combat power. It will last for 3 minutes. The armory was also unlocked, and it showed beginner-level weapons. He was excited to check it out. But he saw a kitchen knife, a spatula, and a slotted spoon, which made him confused. He wasn't happy with it, so he sarcastically asked if he's supposed to stir-fry zombies with it. The system told him that it was the weapons of the food stall, that he shouldn't underestimate those kitchen utensils since they not only come with built-in skills, but can also upgrade based on the host's abilities. Those who had used it praised it. That changed his perspective and made him excited to try it. They heard a noise from the bushes. He had a devilish plan with the mutant snake since it ate his mutant chicken. The system told him to stop laughing creepily. He told the system to stop with the nonsense. He asked Fei Fei if she wanted to play a game. He looked at the mutant snake. He got on top of it while instructing her to watch the knife. He chopped off the body of the mutant snake. He butchered it cleanly by separating the tendons and dislocating the bones, too. Then he separated the flesh and bone. Then he told Fei Fei to catch the meat. She jumped high and collected all of it. She stacked it neatly. After using the knife, he could tell that it was really useful. Suddenly, the system published new tasks. His task was to develop more than 3 new snacks using existing ingredients and find customers to taste them and receive 100 5-star likes. This time, there was no time limit for the task, but if there are any negative reviews, all the host's points will be reset to 0. He didn't like that since all his days of hard work will be for nothing. He added that everyone's tastes are different, and even if he were the reincarnation of the Little Master, it would be impossible to satisfy everyone. The system told him that the greater the difficulty, the higher the reward. It told him a secret, which is that apart from the stated rewards, there will be unexpected surprises once he completes the task. Xiao Ling didn't fully believe him, though, but he also thought that the fact that there's no time limit was nice. He knew that finding survivors in the apocalypse won't happen in just a day or two, so he might as well take the time to rest. But the system urged him to work diligently and not lazily. Xiaoling argues that the great master named Lu once said that rest is for better work. He turned his attention to the car and commented that it looks nice on the outside, but it made him wonder how it performs. And while subtly glancing at Fei Fei, he stated that his main concern is whether it's durable. If it falls apart like last time, he wouldn't be able to handle it. He called Fei Fei so they could take it out on a spin. The truck sped up. They wondered where the snake went. Joe replied that the direction is correct and there's only one road there. He considered that it slipped into the forest. And then they saw something. Their jaws dropped. They got out of the truck and saw the bones. They inspected it, and since the blood hasn't dried up, it led them to think that it was freshly eaten. They thought they were too late, and the person had already been eaten. Captain Huo disagreed with them, because if it was a human, the thigh bone would be the thickest, but the one they found is even thicker, so it wasn't a human. Joe saw something, so he called the captain. It was the skull of the mutated snake. And they also found bones that belonged to birds. It was all bones, and there was no trace of meat left. They wondered if it was done by other mutated creatures. Just thinking about a creature that would eat such a big mutant snake in such a short time was terrifying. Joe stated that since the bones don't look like they belong to humans, that person couldn't be dead. Captain Ho thought to himself that judging by the scene, there would have been a fierce battle just recently. It's a puzzle to him on how he escaped on his own. He also considered that the deaths of those mutated creatures could be related to him. Meanwhile, the camper van had been driven. Fei Fei looked beautiful inside it. She looked happy, too. And of course, Xiaoling looked handsome while driving it. He expressed that he's living the dream of college students. And only if there's a signal, he would have posted it on social media. He asked Fei Fei if she's enjoying it. She opened the sunroof and stuck her head out. She looked happy and free with her arms spread wide. He told her that there's something even better. Suddenly, they saw zombies in front. They looked creepy, even under the bright sun. Xiaoling recognized those zombies. It was his old acquaintance. He decided to test the car on them. He stepped on the gas. And he sped off. He hit the zombies in front of them. Naturally, those zombies got angry. They chased after him. He instructed the system to temporarily disable the protection function because he wanted to test the car's explosion resistance. The system obeyed him. Feifei enjoyed it even more when he accelerated. He bumped into one of the zombies, and it was thrown in the air. The other zombies tried to scratch the car. It was time for Xiaoling to demonstrate his real skills. He swerved the car and hit several zombies along the way. Feifei continuously enjoyed the ride. Nighttime came and the camper van was still on the road. The bathroom was misty. Xiaoling happily took a bath. He hasn't had such a satisfying bath since the apocalypse began. But now, he had unlimited hot water, shampoo, and body wash. He loved his upgraded life. A set of eyes appeared behind him. Xiaoling sensed it and opened the shower curtains. He asked who it was. He waited for some movements. When nothing happened, he yelled, "Come out!" He went back to washing his hair and wondered if he's just paranoid, or is it because a pair of eyes was really watching him? He saw a silhouette. He opened the curtains again while yelling to the person to stop being sneaky. Feifei was surprised. He panicked too, so he immediately put a towel on his waist. She approached him closer and tried to say something, but the only words she formed was, "Abba Abba." Xiaoling told her not to come any closer since he's taking a bath. The system told Xiaoling that Feifei was crazing his body. Xiaoling was surprised to see him, and he called the system a pervert for spying on him while he bathed. The system was offended that he was seen as spying. He corrected him, saying that he's logging in overtime for the sake of his body. He lectured him that if he doesn't want to praise him, he shouldn't falsely accuse him. Feifei looked at his body. It made Xiaoling blush because even if she's a zombie, she's really beautiful. He closed his eyes as his form of consent, but he realized that it's not different from necrophilia, and he thinks it was completely immoral. She opened her teeth and bit him. Xiaoling panicked and thinks that he's been nuclear infected already. But he saw that there was no blood. He realized that the body wash was slippery enough that her teeth didn't bite through the skin. She liked what she did, though. She turned to him with sparkly eyes. Xiaoling ran away while asking the system why Feifei lost control. The system simply replied that she's after his body. The system explained that zombies have an insatiable hunger. They constantly need to eat to fill their void. It prompted him to think about what she had eaten all day, and then all of a sudden, something that perfectly matches her instincts is right in front of her so naturally she would lose control. Xiaoling realized he misunderstood, but he blamed the system for not saying that it meant it in a literal sense. Xiaoling yelled at her to stop chasing him and he'll get her some food. A few moments later, our MC served her different dishes, and she happily ate those meat. Xiaoling was relieved that he had the snake meat, otherwise he doesn't know how to feed her. He knew that he just got lucky, but the problem wasn't resolved. She'll be like a ticking time bomb next to him. He imagined that one day if he fell asleep and got eaten, he wouldn't even know about it. He asked the system if there's any way to guarantee his safety. The system replied to make sure to feed her before she gets hungry. That idea didn't help at all. He thought of something. He rummages through his things. He got a rope-like item. The next day, it was dawn. Xiaoling took his clothes and wore it. He looked elegant and stylish with his new clothes. Then he started the camper van's engine and drove off. Meanwhile, we see Feifei looking in the mirror to check her new braces. The system was impressed with Xiaoling's idea. It never thought that a dental retainer could be used that way. Xiaoling replied that as long as his intelligence doesn't take a nosedive, there will always be more solutions than problems. He suggested that compared to blowing off the zombie's head, a dental retainer could be the solution in dealing with zombies. The system replied that it's an important discovery and would raise it to the higher-ups. Suddenly, something surprised Xiaoling. There was a car in front of them. He got out of the camper van and checked the car, but there was no one inside. He saw underneath it that there were so many nails. He assumed that someone had deliberately set up a trap to stop the vehicle. A loud noise made the birds fly away from a distance. Xiaoling quickly turned his head to the direction of the gunshot. Feifei got agitated. He told her to stay quiet. Judging by the sound, he could tell that all the shots are single shots, and they're coming from the same gun. He used a telescope to check it out. He saw a single person, and she shot the zombies charging at her. She looked really cool holding a big gun like that, and looking seriously. Zombies were shot in the head. He saw that she has good marksmanship, and that she's beautiful too, but he knew she wouldn't be able to hold out much longer. He's aware that the type of gun can only fire 10 bullets at a time, and reloading is time-consuming. It's decent for long-range combat, but once the enemy gets too close, its shortcomings will become obvious. He had forgotten which lifetime it was, but he remembered getting his kidney taken by a zombie because of the exact issue. She fired again. Xiaoling considered helping her. He smacked himself in the head and expressed that lust leads to ruin. He remembered that he was recently tricked by Qin, too. The zombies made loud noises. The woman didn't waver. She pulled the trigger, but she was surprised. The zombie got too close on her. She grabbed the dagger on her back, and she skillfully slashed it. Xiaoling was amazed that he was skilled with melee weapons too. She moved swiftly. Her moves caught the zombie off guard. She slashed it again, and the zombies fell. It was really surprising. She looked in Xiaoling's direction. It made him wonder if she noticed him. She started walking. She walked towards the shallow river and started to undress. She removed her top. Xiaoling saw it all and had a nosebleed because of it. When he recovered his senses, he covered his eyes with a hand and told himself not to look because that would be improper. And he saw how ruthless the woman is when cutting down the zombies. If she mistook her for some perverted stalker, he'll be chopped into pieces. He told Fei Fei that they will leave, but she's distracted by the butterfly. Her arm accidentally bumped him. It made him fall from the cliff. Then she set off to chase the butterfly. Xiaoling rolled down and crashed on the grass. He got angry at Fei Fei, but he got distracted when he felt something in his head. When he saw that it was a panty, his nose bled. Then he saw the woman's clothes in front of him. The exact thing he's afraid of actually happened. He decided to run quickly before the woman came, but it was too late. A blade had been pointed at his neck. He turned pale, and he didn't dare to move. He asked her to spare him. The woman was surprised to learn that he wasn't a zombie. Xiaoling raises his hands in surrender and insists that he's human. He told her that she can check if she wants to, but when he raised his hand, he was holding the panty. Of course, the woman saw it and was creeped out. He immediately threw it away and explained that he didn't see anything and he was just passing by. Her cheeks were flustered, and through her gritted teeth, she replied that when a man says he didn't see anything, it means that he saw something. She took out her dagger and told him to die. He called for Fei Fei to save him. Fei Fei jumped in their direction and kicked the woman. The attack was blocked using her arm. She didn't expect reinforcements. She kept slashing at Fei Fei. She noticed how agile she was and that it made her curious about her background. She tries to slash her again. Then she stepped in to evade Fei Fei's attack. Xiaoling, who watched them, had a nosebleed. The woman saw it and threatened that if he keeps staring, she'll gouge his eyes out. Xiaoling realized how brutal the girl's fight could be. Because of that, he knew to keep his distance. He told Fei Fei that he'll just wait for her in the car, then he sped off. Fei Fei watched the woman's body, and it made her drool. She jumped at the woman. The woman couldn't believe her. She called her vulgar. A bullet was on its way to them. They both stepped back to evade it. A group of men with weird styles appeared. The shirtless man with nipple tape commented that Gu Yue, the great beauty, was amazing since she faced a zombie and came out unscathed. The woman asked Hao Jian what he's doing there. The woman realized why the road was tampered. It was this man who did that. She also knew that he deliberately led the zombies there. Jian admitted that he did it because she rejected him. He told her that had she listened to him back then and handed over the base for him to manage, he would have kept her by his side and they would have enjoyed life together. But since he refused to appreciate his kindness, she shouldn't blame him for being ruthless. He told his men to attack her. She was caught off guard. She still skillfully evaded the bullets. They kept firing. She ducked to the bushes to evade the bullets. A woman from Jian's team reported that she escaped. Jian wasn't worried, though, because he knew there was no road over there, so she couldn't escape. Then Jian thought that dying like that was too easy for her. So he ordered them to capture her alive. Unexpectedly, one of his men encountered another woman, Fei Fei. They were confused because she didn't even run. They could tell that she doesn't seem very smart. She was just looking around, so it made them wonder if she's out of her mind. They asked Jian if they should capture her too. Jian replied that since there are many men in the group, it's natural that they would share the blessing. So once he's done having fun with her, he'll reward them with her. That motivated those men to go after Fei Fei. They surrounded her and got a closer look at her. They liked her for her innocent look. They told her not to be afraid since they will take good care of her. She grabbed one of their arms and twisted it effortlessly. The man's arm got detached from the body, which made him scream out loud. It angered the other two men, so they got ready to fire at her. The camper van was driven speedily, and it bumps into those men. Xiaoling cursed at them for daring to touch Feifei. Feifei was pleased to see him. She jumped on its roof. Xiaoling asked her if she's okay. She hung upside down and showed him the arm that she got. Xiaoling was disturbed by it and told her to throw it away quickly. Meanwhile, in the forest, Yue ran as fast as she could until she reaches the end of the cliff. She was at a dead end. Jian and two of his lackeys caught up to her. She fought them with her dagger, but her opponent tripped her, so she fell on the ground and the gun was pointed at her head. Jian commented that women are so useless. He said that Yue hesitated just because of a mere piece of cover. Yue yelled that he's despicable. Jian replied that it's nothing new. He grabbed her hair and told her that what he hates the most is her holier-than-thou, untouchable attitude. He had this creepy smile on his face when he told her that he will show her what true despicability looks like. He needed enough money first, then he planned to tie her to the front of the car and drive her to the base. This is so people could see how sexy the goddess is. She cursed at him. Suddenly, the camper van appeared on their side. Feifei jumped out of it and landed on Jian. This shocked Yue. The impact was powerful. Jian got terrified and puzzled where she came from. The two women with her were shocked, but the camper van blocked their path to circle around Jian, and it stopped in front of Yue. The door opened. Xiaoling told her to get in the car. She simply agreed. When she stood up, she grabbed a gun and told Jian that she'll give him some fun. And then she fired at him, making sure he'd enjoy that payback. Feifei skillfully evades the bullets. Jian wet his pants when his genitals were almost hit. The bullet landed an inch away from it. Yue commented that men are so pathetic for peeing on their pants over something small. Xiaoling told Feifei to get inside the car too. She jumped and landed in a good pose near the door. Then the camper van sped off. Jian got angry that they messed with him. He told them to go after them. They shot the camper van. But the bullets bounced back. It hit their car. They were so confused on how that happened. The camper van was back at the highway. While Xiaoling drove, he told Yue that he doesn't have girls' clothes, but the one she changed out of earlier is in the cabinet. Though it's a little torn, but if she doesn't mind, she could wear it. She was okay with it. She took it out of the cabinet and saw that it was really torn. She ripped a part of it, then wore it. She looked good in a crop top with a plunging neckline and denim shorts. Xiaoling was surprised to see her wearing it that way. He knew that with her great body and skimpy clothing, she'd attract trouble. She thanked him for the clothes. Unexpectedly, she pointed a knife at his neck and ordered him to pull over. She noticed that Feifei doesn't care about Xiaoling because she's distracted with some piece of cloth. So she told Xiaoling that if he wanted to scream, he could, but her knife would be faster than him. He turned pale. Deep inside, he wondered if there's no one in the apocalypse who hasn't lost their morals and humanity. He told the system to kick her out of the car. The system replied that he can't do that because he invited her to the car. The security system recognized her as a VIP customer, and tools don't harm VIPs. Frustration washed over his face as he complained about that messed up rule. He said it out loud that it made Yue ask him who he was talking to. He replied that there's no one and encouraged her to calm down, and he'd do anything she says. The car kept going. Xiaoling vowed to himself not to stick his nose in other people's business again. She sat on the passenger seat, still holding the knife against his neck, and asked him why he saved her. He asked if she'd let him go if he answers that it's because he's a good person. She replied that in the apocalypse, the do-gooders should be killed first. He took back what he said. Then he explained that he's an apocalypse chef and she seemed strong, and it looked like she had a lot of crystal cores, so he wanted her to be his customer. She was puzzled by what she heard. But it eventually made sense when she saw the back of the car looked like a kitchen with complete utensils. She shared that the cook of their base died last month from eating poisonous mushrooms. So, if what he said was true, she'd consider taking in both him and the girl. Xiaoling realized that she has a base. Immediately, he asked her how many people were in the base. He wondered if it was 100. She laughed at him and replied that their steel factory is the biggest base within 100 miles, so there are at least 300 people. He was pleased to hear that. He didn't expect to find 100 customers that fast. Even if only a third give positive reviews, he'd still be able to complete the mission with no problem. It led him to think that being a good person paid off, but she was still suspicious. She considered that it was just his cover, and it could be that he just stole the car. Suddenly, her stomach growled. It embarrassed her. Then, she told him that if he cooks first and it tasted good, she'd believe him. Deep inside, he's fascinated how she's obviously hungry, but still wants to save face. Xiaoling was motivated to show what he got. Yu sat on the dining table. Xiaoling checked the menu. And since he's developing a new dish, it means that nothing on the current menu can be used. He saw on the menu the takoyaki and egg waffles, which he had already cooked. He's facing a dilemma because he's just an ordinary college student, and he only knows how to make a few dishes, and he wasn't a genius in the field. He saw something on his peripherals. When he saw the mutant snake, he immediately grabbed the knife, but it was just Feifei wearing the snake head. He was dumbfounded. He recalled that Feifei's pants were recently torn, so he just grabbed a piece of cloth to wrap around her, but it turns out it was the snake's skin. He apologized for forgetting about her, and told her that there's a needle and a thread in the drawer, so he'll fix her clothes for her right away. After a while, Yue had become impatient since it took him a long time to serve food to a hungry customer like her. It confirmed her suspicion that he was a fraud. He walked around. At this time, Xiaoling was sewing. He finally finished sewing the boots. It should be fine for her to wear it now. Feifei tried it by kicking several times and it was fine. Yue commented that she didn't expect that he could sew. He replied that it was a piece of cake, since his parents were always busy working when he was a kid, so he was raised by his great-grandmother in the countryside, and he learned just by watching her. He shared that if his grandmother was alive, she would be over 100 by now, and with her strength, any zombie that ran into her would have been in big trouble. Yue replied that people always say that kids raised by elders are blessed. Learning that he got so many people who cared about him made her kind of jealous. He replied that every time he got into trouble, he was whipped with bamboo shoots as punishment. He asked her if she wanted that as a blessing. She shared that she and her brother were orphans and they grew up in an orphanage and had never seen their parents' faces. So, if she could have that kind of love, she'd want it in a heartbeat. That caught him off guard and made him sad too. But she's done with the sob stories and wanted her food already. Xiaoling got annoyed because she's the one that started the conversation, but he saw that she's just putting up a front, and tears were pooling at the side of her eyes. As his way of showing comfort, he covered her with the snakeskin. It was because she's barely dressed and just came out of a river, which means that she's going to catch a cold. He had decided on what to cook for her. Later on, he served the dish. She asked him if it was porridge, but it didn't really look like it. He told her that it's not porridge because it was a snake stew. That made her pale. Then she thought of what it is. She asked if it was mutant snake meat. She's worried because that was infected and might not be edible. He assured her that as long as the infected parts are removed, mutant snake meat can be eaten. She doubted if it was really safe to eat, but Xiaoling taunted her by asking if she's scared. He took the bowl back and told her that he had proven his skills, but she's too chicken to eat it. Then he called Feifei since it was time to eat. Feifei came running to him while drooling. Yue snatched the bowl back while yelling at him that she's not scared. He tasted it cautiously. Then she proceeded to slurp it. Before she ate it earlier, she gave herself a pep talk, that it was just a mutated snake and she's not afraid of it when it's alive, so there was no reason for her to be scared of it now that it was dead. She doesn't want people to look down on her, so she still ate it. And, to her surprise, the texture was smooth like jelly. It was soft and slippery, savory with a hint of sweetness, and just a light bite, and it bursts in her mouth and her tongue wrapped in silky texture. She compared the sensation of it to bathing in milk. It was pure bliss. Then she noticed that there was something underneath. She could feel it was full of vibrant life, constantly stimulating her body. It was like the water she's bathing on was heating up. And an egg cracked, and several mini mermen that looked like Xiaoling appeared. It made her blush. They clung onto her skin. She could feel them sticking to her. The strange sensation was tingly, stinging, and burning. She could feel her pores being opened. She couldn't take it anymore, so she stood up. Her fantasy was done. But it left her breathless. Xiaoling asked her if she feels warmer now. She noticed that the cold sensation she had earlier was completely gone, and even though she broke a sweat, she didn't feel tired. Instead, she feels that she's full of energy. She couldn't believe that it was snake meat. He told her that snake meat is actually known to be nourishing, and it boosts blood and energy, strengthens muscles and bones, and it also dispels wind and cold, and restores stamina. But the snake meat stew was just a secondary ingredient. The real magic lies in the seasoning. He let Feifei sniff it, and it made her teary eyes. He revealed that it was ginger and ground pepper. Yue seemed confused. He shared that whenever he caught a cold as a kid, his great-grandma would force him to drink a bowl of spicy soup made with pepper, and it always worked better than medicine. So, pepper was the key. Deep inside, Yue was thinking that it was unexpected how the kid knows a lot. He asked her if she now believes him that he's a cook. He gave her the tablet and told her that if she's satisfied, he should give him a good review. The options are from 1 star to 5 stars. She tapped on the screen and gave him the 5 stars. She recognized his skills but warned him that becoming the base's chef wouldn't be easy. He had to cook for hundreds of people, so simply knowing how to make food wasn't enough. She tells him that he passed the first test, and whether they will hire him or not will depend on further evaluation back at the base. Xiaoling realized that getting a job as a chef is like landing an offer from a big tech company. He just gave out a free meal and still got more assessments in return. He sees them as being worse than a capitalist, but he endured it for the mission. The camper van made its way to the base. She told him that it was just up ahead. He saw the tall walls. She told him that it used to be the largest steel factory in the city. The walls are made of cement and reinforced steel, and with great terrain, it was easy to defend and hard to attack. The survivors wandered a long time before settling down on that place. It was no wonder that others wanted to take it from her. It was an ideal shelter. Remembering Jian made her annoyed. She narrated that she only let him stay because she pitied him when he was cornered with zombies and had nowhere to go, but turns out he was such a piece of trash. Not only did he harass her, he constantly spread rumors that she liked him. He even let his buddies in from the outside, trying to take over the base, but luckily, the patrol caught them in time. She really regretted kicking him out because she knew she should have killed him. But she learned her lesson. So, she warned Xiaoling that if he ever dared to act like him. Xiaoling cuts her off mid-sentence and tells her that he would rather like a zombie instead. The car arrived at the entrance. The women guarding the gate pointed the gun at the car and told them to stop. They asked who they were. Yue showed herself through the window with her arms up. They were happy to see her and immediately ordered to open the door. The camper van drove inside. Yue came out of the car, then the women rushed to her. They asked why she changed cars because they weren't able to recognize her at first, and they also asked what happened to her clothes. They pointed a gun at Xiaoling and asked if he had done that to her. He yelled at them not to mess around and shared that if it weren't for him, she wouldn't even have that piece of clothing. Yue covered his mouth and told him to shut up. She explained that it wasn't him and that she was ambushed by Jian's group on the way back. Although she managed to shake them off, she couldn't bring the car or supplies. They hated that bastard and stated that if she hadn't saved his life back then, he would have been zombie food already. They called him an ungrateful traitor, and if they ever see him again, they will surely kill him. Then the woman asked who she was with. She introduced them as the new cooks that she recruited. They were eating biscuits every day, and she felt bad for making everyone suffer. She promised to improve their meals and have something hot. She remembered that they had caught a wild boar before, but ever since the last cook died, no one knew how to prepare it, so it was just sitting in storage. She looked for old Liu so he could bring out the meat. She instructed Xiaoling to cook a few hearty dishes so they could see what he's capable of. He complained that she's already making him work without even letting him have a sip of water. She called him ruthless. The women informed Yue that old Liu was called by Brother Cheng. She asked if it was Gu Cheng. Meanwhile, inside a building, someone threw food away. The rich-looking pretty woman complained about that piece of meat that stinks. She refused to eat it. The guy approached her and told her not to be mad. He assured not to give her something like that anymore. Some men got mad at old Liu because Brother Cheng instructed him to bring the most nutritious food, and they gave him garbage. He replied that it wasn't garbage, but boar meat, and it was actually very nutritious. Cheng thinks he was deceived, though. He stormed off to go find some good food himself. Liu called out to him and told him not to make things hard for him. He informed him that the warehouse is a restricted area in the base, and without Yue's permission, no one else can just go in. Some men yelled at him for saying that Cheng was Yue's sister, so he should be allowed to go inside. They think Liu was just the key holder and he didn't have real authority. Cheng stated that his words were also his sister's words, so he should let him in or he'll regret it. Someone arrived and asked him what he's doing. It was Yue with the two women, and Xiaoling and Feifei were far behind them. Cheng saw his sister. He's happy that she's back. Yue was stern, though, and she pointed out that he hadn't answered her. She knew that they should be scavenging for supplies, and yet he's back at the base. She also asked why he's trying to access the warehouse. He lied that something unexpected happened, so he came back early. Then he shared that he told Liu to open the warehouse to get food, and he tried to feed him garbage. He claims that he doesn't respect her at all. Liu tried to explain that it wasn't true. Yue showed her hand to make him stop. She saw the meat on the ground, and with a stern gaze, she told Chung to pick it up. Chung was confused. She told him again to pick it up. She stated that 3 people got hurt capturing the wild boar, and the most seriously injured still can't get out of bed. So every grain of food, every drop of water in the base, was bought with blood and lives. She asked him who gave him the right to waste it. The 2 men with him felt ashamed. Chung was speechless. Xiaoling had observed that when Yue gets serious, she really has the presence of a leader. It was so different from how she looked when she was streaking before. Then he noticed that her little brother was far different from her. Hong admits that it was her fault. She told Yue not to blame Chung and the others. Yue glared at her, which scared her, so she hid behind Chung and cried. Yue asked who she was. She called Chung for help, so he covered for her, saying that she's timid, so Yue better not scare her. Deep inside, Yue was puzzled because she had done nothing. She asked him if that girl was the emergency that made them come back early. He explained that her name is Yin Hong, and they found her while they were scavenging for supplies. He found her hiding alone in an already empty supermarket surrounded by zombies outside. And by the time they rescued her, she hadn't eaten in days. He finds her so pitiful, so he couldn't just leave her, so he brought her back. That struck Xiaoling. He saw it as a good chance because she will most likely give good reviews without much difficulty. There was a saying that when a person is hungry, sugar tastes like honey, and when they're full, sugar tastes bland. Yue reminded him of the rules of the base. She couldn't believe that he just brought back someone with an unknown background. He argued that Hong is not someone with an unknown background. He shared that her dad was the richest man in the city, and her mom was a famous pianist, so it makes her a real, proper rich girl. He stated he understands that what happened with Jian was traumatizing, but he claimed that Hong was different. He described her as the kindest and purest girl he ever met, and he couldn't just leave her to die. Yue clicked her tongue. The woman with Yue couldn't believe he said that when taking in Jian wasn't even Yue's decision. She said that the bastard fooled everyone with his acting. The short-haired woman added that not because Jian was a bad guy, it doesn't automatically make Hong a good person. They know that being pure and kind isn't something they can wear on their face. The men with Chung replied that they shouldn't judge a noble soul with a pretty heart. They empathized that Hong was a rich girl stuck in the apocalypse, and it's already miserable enough. They told the women to show some empathy. They replied that just because she's rich, it doesn't mean that she's good. They told him the phrase that the rich are unkind. They pointed out that the guys must have been blinded by her looks and they weren't listening to Yue anymore. Xiaoling was confused as to why they're yelling, but nevertheless, he was fine with it because the more they fight, the hungrier they get, and that just brings them closer to completing the task. He cheered for them to keep arguing. Chung got annoyed with them. He brought up that he doesn't recognize those 2. Yue explained that they were chefs that she recruited from the outside. He argues that they won't let him keep Hong, and yet she also brought a random person back. He called her a hypocrite. He also pointed out how they don't look like chefs, which led him to think that they are liars like Jian. He wanted to throw them out. His men approached Xiaoling, but Fei Fei punched them. When they were on the ground, lying face down, she twisted their arms. Xiaoling told her to let them go. He couldn't believe that she would treat the customers so violently. He whispered to her that if she's going to hit them, she should hit their legs because they might not be able to eat if their hands got broken. After that, Xiaoling apologized that his staff was short-tempered. As compensation, they will get a free side dish on the house, and he encouraged them to leave a 5-star review. Those men thought he was crazy to ask that after beating them up. Hong noticed something. Chung pulled out a gun. He claimed that since they fought back, they are clearly up to no good. Yue told him to stop it, but he still fired the gun. The bullet went straight to Xiaoling. Everyone was surprised. Xiaoling fell and laid there on the ground. Fei Fei turned pale. When she saw him in that state, it made her lose control. In a blink of an eye, she was gone. Then she appeared near Chung and kicked his hand. Chung was caught off guard. She grabbed him and hit him left and right. Chung begged her to stop hitting. Fei Fei opened her mouth wide, then bit him. Chung was surprised. He told the women if they're blind. He's already getting beaten up and they just stood there. He ordered them to kill her, but the women didn't pay attention to him. They just stared at him. Hong asked Chung's friends to help him, but they refused since they knew they're no match for her. Hong called them useless. Fei Fei continued biting him. Chung asked for his sister's help since he's being bitten to death. But his sister walked out on him. He begged her not to leave. She crouched down beside Xiaoling. When she saw him, his eyes were open, so she tries to close it. She apologized to him. Had she known that this would happen, she wouldn't have brought him back. She didn't think it would get him killed. He laid there with his eyes closed. Then suddenly, he opened his eyes. And then he rose. Yue was so surprised. He stretched his neck nonchalantly, while all the people around him were shocked. Fei Fei was happy to see him. She ran towards him and hugged him. He called him a silly girl and told her that her boss wasn't easy to kill. Then he glared at Chung. Chung wondered how he's still alive. Xiaoling grabbed him. He raised his fist angrily at this bastard who just opened fire without warning. If he hadn't reacted quickly, his handsome face would have been ruined a minute ago. Chung pulled the trigger. Xiaoling asked the system to use the show-off skill card. Super speed boost was activated. He saw the bullet coming towards him and evaded it. He was amused with the sensation of having that kind of extreme agility. He stated that it was like everything around him was in slow motion. He can clearly predict everyone's next move, like an Olympic champion racing against elderly. He felt good showing off. But the system spoiled the fun when it reminded him that the show-off skill card had used up 3.38 seconds, and the remaining time was 2 minutes and 56.62 seconds. He couldn't believe that they were counting down to decimals. He called it stingier than death. Yue asked him if he's really okay. He replied that his body was fine, but his spirit took a serious hit. He stated that he hasn't gotten paid yet, and he already took a metal peanut to the face. It makes him want to reconsider staying there. Chung insists that they couldn't let him stay. He yelled that they are suspicious people. He was certain that he shot him, so he's puzzled as to why he's fine. Then he called Fei Fei weird too. Because she has a face as pale as a corpse and she doesn't talk, plus she bites. These led him to conclude that those two are not normal. Yue thought of something. Xiaoling anticipated what she would say. The two women also had something in mind. Xiaoling was worried that they found out the truth about Fei Fei. Yue and the two women thought he was a psychic. And there's him worrying that they knew she was a zombie. When he heard them, he was bamboozled. The blue-haired woman approached him because she wanted to confirm if he's an ability user. She asked how he managed to take a neutron shell head-on without a scratch. They were glad that their base now has an ability user. Yue expressed that she would have never guessed. She admits that he hid it well. Yue thought that he'd be exposed. It was a good thing that they were all fixated on those so-called geniuses. They asked him what his power was, fire, water, or metal. Yue stepped in and told him that if he doesn't want to say it, it's fine. They have plenty of time and they will find out sooner or later. Hong watched them carefully, though. Chung couldn't believe that he's an ability user, especially when he knew he was a cook. He had never seen an ability user working as a chef. Xiaoling replied that becoming the chosen one is his destiny, but he was born loving to cook. Chung couldn't believe how annoying he was. One of his lackeys commented that he suspected it because there's no woman who could fight well. So, counting Chung, their base now has 3 ability users. Xiaoling asked Chung if he's an ability user too. He teased him, asking what kind of power gets him beaten up by Fei Fei like that. Chung yelled that it's not his business. Yue explained that Chung was an ability user, but he hasn't awakened yet. That confused Xiaoling. She explained that before awakening, ability users show all sorts of signs like high fever, hallucinations, strange markings on the body, and such people are called seeds. Chung assured Hong that he'll awaken soon since his fevers keep coming more often. He vowed that when he awakens, he won't let Xiaoling keep getting cocky. Hong replied that she believes that he's the strongest. Fei Fei disagrees by growling and showing her teeth. Chung turned pale and yelled at her to stay back. Yue stood in between them and declared they should stop. She told Hong that she can stay in the base, but the base encourages fairness. Nobody eats unless they work. She added that whatever is in the warehouse is common property. Private withdrawals were not allowed. Anyone who breaks the rules will get kicked out. Hong replied that she understands. Chung once again defended her, saying that it was him who needed supplies and it had nothing to do with Hong. He told his sister to quit picking on her. Yue simply glared at him. It made him feel dizzy. Then Yue instructed Liu to check the storeroom for ingredients and pick some fresh veggies. She planned to have an extra meal to welcome the newcomer. She pats Xiaoling's shoulder and tells him to do well and not embarrass her. Deep inside, he was thinking that it wasn't much of a welcome when he's the one going to cook. Chung thought of something. He volunteered to prepare the food to compensate for bothering old Lu. Meanwhile, in the dining area, the people are gossiping about the new cook being an ability user too. Ability users are usually worshipped, so it's a puzzle why one would cook for them. An old lady simply thinks that it's because the man was good. One of them expressed that since the last cook died, they had been eating crackers, and he's sick of it. They were excited to eat a meal made by an ability user. In the kitchen. They checked the ingredients, and there were only rotten leaves, spoiled eggs, and sprouting potatoes. Xiaoling looked disappointed and asked Yue if she wanted 8 dishes and 3 soups with that. Yue asked Cheng what was going on. Cheng simply replied that it was because 2 days of rain flooded the fields. The warehouse only had rice and flour, and the eggs were already hard to find. His lackeys added that the kitchen was out of seasonings. They stated that Yue went out to get salt but came back empty-handed. Cheng stated that the simpler the ingredients, the tougher the culinary test. He sarcastically said that Xiaoling can turn rot into wonder and make people's mouths water. Xiaoling simply thanked him for his encouragement. But deep inside, he knew that he was setting him up to fall. But joke's on him since he got the system. He can get any ingredient he wants. The system appeared and told him that the space system can only be used inside the cart. Nothing may be taken out. He didn't know that there was a rule like that. Cheng's friends comforted him, saying that they had hidden all the base's food, so they're looking forward to what he'll make with that garbage. The other friend hyped up everyone's expectations, so if he can't serve decent food, he and Yue will lose face. Cheng complimented them for that. Hong thinks it's too much because Yue was his sister. Cheng's friends couldn't believe her since they ganged up on her and now she's worrying about them. They think she's too kind. Cheng replied that those two are bad news, and kicking them out is the best for the base. He claimed that one ability user was enough and he won't let anyone threaten his position. The people started to grow impatient. They started asking why it wasn't ready yet and how much longer they would wait. They were already starving. The 2 women went to Yue and asked what they should do since everyone's getting impatient. Xiaoling stated that all eggs are rotten and the veggies are spoiled. Only the rice was still usable, so if it comes to worst, he can only make porridge. Cheng heard that. Then he announced to everyone that they will only have plain congee. Everyone was shocked. They grew resentful because they were promised 8 dishes, 3 soups, and meat. They complained that the old cook never did that. If they knew it was congee, they would have just eaten instant noodles. Cheng's lackeys added fuel to the fire by saying that the ability user that Yue worked so hard to bring back saved the good stuff for himself. They made up a story that congee should be enough, because if they demand more, the cook will get mad and leave for another base. They realized that the reason why an ability user became a cook is to hoard food. They argued that the base is equal for everyone, so he shouldn't get special treatment and withhold rations. Because of that, they don't want to keep someone like that. They suggested letting him go elsewhere. Xiaoling was quiet while Feifei gritted her teeth in anger. In his head, Cheng really knew how to make him the villain. Cheng also wanted to see how he'll stay now, after stirring anger the moment he arrived. Yue called everyone's attention. She revealed to them that it was her fault because she ran into trouble on the road and couldn't bring back the supplies, so the chef had nothing to work with. She promised to find ingredients soon so as not to disappoint them next time. The old woman approached her and replied that they couldn't blame her since scavenging was never easy. She told her that coming back safe is what matters the most. The others agreed that without her, the base wouldn't exist and anyone who complains was ungrateful. They added that compared to survivors out there living day to day, being able to drink plain congee, every meal was already a blessing. They knew not to complain further. Yue was touched and thanked them all for understanding. Hong saw how the moment Yue spoke, everyone changed their tone. It was obvious that she was held in high regard. That made Cheng feel bitter. He didn't expect that his sister would take the blame for him. Hong subtly observed his reaction. It made her smirk. The old woman talked to Xiaoling and told her that since her teeth were sore, plain congee was best for her. The others told him that they didn't know the situation, but he could just ignore their words. A woman offered pickled veggies to add for more flavor. Xiaoling had observed how Yue was young and yet so respected. She knew she'll be remarkable someday. With a remarkable base that huge and her leadership, they should be popular. And yet, it was a puzzle to him how he had never heard of someone like her before. One of Yue's girls yelled that none of it was Xiaoling's fault nor Yue's. She claimed that if the pork in the storage hadn't been ruined, they wouldn't be stuck with congee. They wanted to know what happened to the wild boar, especially the ones who worked hard to catch it. Yue pointed at Hong, then told them to ask her instead. Yue revealed that she threw the meat thinking it was dirty. They recognized that she was the girl that Chung brought back. They asked her why she would waste food. Again, Chung defended her, saying that she didn't mean it. He made the excuse that she grew up on delicacies and had never seen stuff like that, so it would be natural, that she can't stomach it. Chung's friends told them that they were so petty. Yue's friend accepted that they were petty, and those men were being generous, but by the rules of the base, wasting food means losing one's share. And she suggested that since they were so generous, they would dock it from their rations. Hong acted pitiful and apologized. She stated that she didn't waste it on purpose, and that she just didn't want to endanger people. Yue asked her what she meant. Suddenly, someone entered, and they brought a crate. It was the meat. Yue was confused because Chung said that the meat was thrown out. He whispered to Hong and asked what was going on. Yue's friend stated that someone was trying to keep all of it. They described Hong as someone acting like a lady in public, and yet sneaks around in private. In short, she's two-faced. Chung told them to stop spouting nonsense. He yelled that those people felt bad about the meat and now they're giving it back. Hong yelled that the meat was infected with a virus. Everyone was shocked. She explained that the meat turned black and had a weird odor. She knew that it was the rot stench from zombies. She narrated that she had Chung and Bei to stash it so no one would eat it by mistake, and then she planned to burn it later. They agreed with her because the color seemed like it was not fresh. The ones who caught it argued that it still doesn't prove that it's a zombie virus. Some suggested that it was spoiled from bad storage. They looked at old Liu and he replied that it wasn't his fault because the meat looked like that when the cook handed it to him. Hong replied that if it were storage rot, they would see the mod, but the surface was dry and smooth, and there was no decay. Someone commented that the skin was shriveled like a zombie hide. They wondered if the board was a mutant. Chung's friends stated that it was a good thing that Hong spotted it, otherwise, had it been served that day, the whole base might have been infected. They think she's their savior. They thanked her, and it made her blush. She replied that there was no need for that because she just wanted everyone to be safe. Chung stated that now the truth was cleared, Yue and everyone should apologize to her. Yue was shocked. It was like Chung was saying that she didn't expect the meat and dragged the virus back. Chung told her what had happened. Then he added that he understands that she wants praise and admiration, but risking lives just to look impressive was too much. They couldn't believe that he said that to her. Yue's friends knew she wasn't that type of person. Yue reminded him that they're siblings and he knew what she was like. She asked him if he really thinks that she would do that. Chung fell silent. Hong told him to forget it since she knew that Yue didn't mean any harm. She added that scavenging was hard and a slip-up can happen. He replied that she's too generous. That is why people bully her. Yue's friends wondered what she's playing at. The way she said, it was basically admitting that it was Yue's fault. People started gossiping. They got worried since people are starting to believe them. The old woman replied that it's good that no one ate the meat. They were all disturbed when Xiaoling took a sniff at the meat. He grabbed it and everyone panicked. They told him to put it down because it has a virus. He took a piece and ate it while saying that it's a smell he recognized. Everyone was shocked by what he did. He stated that he now has ingredients. He ordered Fei Fei to haul it inside the kitchen. Fei Fei grabbed the crate and ran inside. He was already cooking inside, and the timing was perfect because the rice was already steaming. He grabbed his knife and cut the meat. He placed it on top of the rice. Chung asked him what he's doing. He could serve the virus to everyone and it would be bad news. They claimed that he's trying to kill them. The people took a peek inside the kitchen and expressed that they don't want to turn into a zombie. He asked them who says mutant meat can't be eaten. He explained that if handled correctly and the infected parts were cut off, it's not only edible but also delicious, and he revealed that it wasn't a mutant boar at all. Everyone was shocked. Yue asked him if he's sure. He confidently replied yes. Hong told him that if he just wanted Yue to defend him, he shouldn't risk their lives. Chung's friends yelled at the people to not listen to him. They questioned him as to why it was black and smelly if it wasn't a mutant. Xiaoling replied that it seemed like they were ignorant. He told them that it was air-dried cured pork. Then he guessed that the previous cook was from the south. Yue asked him how he knew. Yue's friend replied that the cook had a thick southern accent. One of the people shared that the cook told him that he was from Guishan and he went to their place to get hired. Xiaoling explained that the style of cured meat is unique to Guishan in the humid south. Because the air was damp and food spoils easily, locals cut big chunks, rub them with salt, soy sauce, and sugar. Then, they hang it in the shade to air dry. The rind shrivels and blackens to keep the moisture in so it won't rot for months. He added that the foul smell was a protective film from drying. It could smell foul now, but once heated, it released an amazing flavor on its own. Xiaoling explained that since the meat has already been marinated, the cooking method was very simple. They just need to use the steam from the rice to cook it, letting the fat and the flavor from the meat seep into the rice. Then he sprinkled chopped green onions before serving. Ta-da! He served clay pot rice in an iron pot. They were all shocked to see that. Now the meat was pink and it was tempting. The smell was amazing too. Chung told them not to listen to him. He told them that the old chef was dead and no one can prove that the meat was cured. Hong was about to cry as she stated to Yue that they had forgiven her, and yet she's still making the chef make up lies and increasing her sin. Xiaoling told them that whether it's cured meat or virus-infected meat, they would only know after they took a bite. He shoved the meat in Hong's mouth. Chung was shocked and worried. Hong covered her face. Everyone was surprised. She tried to spit it out. Xiao Ling told her not to waste food, so Fei Fei rushed towards her and held her mouth shut. Fei Fei assisted her to chew it, and the delicious taste hits her. Her eyes widened, because the meat was firm and she could feel every fiber. The salt scrapes the flesh in her mouth, which gives a thrill to her. Then, the soft, glutinous rice was soaked in meat juice, gushing like a lubricant, rubbing and clashing inside the mouth. She described it as running through a primeval forest. Her experience felt so wild. She fell on her knees and was out of breath. Chung asked if she was okay. Chung's friends asked her if it was awful. She admitted to herself that the meat was sinfully delicious. Xiaoling looked smug. Aside from her face being a little red, she seemed fine. Some people even noticed that she looked healthier than before. They knew that it's now how it would be if it was infected. The old woman once again approached Yue and admitted that she was foolish. She nearly believed something was wrong with the meat. She asked that Yue doesn't take it to heart. She told her not to say that, because the misunderstanding has been cleared. The people again changed their attitude. One person expressed that she knew Yue won't bring back something bad. The other guy shared that his brother got hurt trying to catch the boar, and if it really has virus, his brother would have shown symptoms already. Xiaoling told them that since everything has been settled, they should eat, and if they enjoyed it, he told them to give a 5-star review. Everyone grabbed their plates. The man who took a bite first had an intense reaction. He claimed that it was so good, just one bite and the meaty aroma explodes. He claimed that it was a feast for the taste buds. The others ate too and commented that the rice was both fragrant and sticky and perfectly soaked in meat juices. It was so delicious that they were so satisfied with every bite. Some even shed happy tears because they were now able to eat meat. Yue's friend questioned what kind of rich young lady doesn't even recognize cured meat. She was suspicious that she was just faking being a billionaire. The people sided with them. They commented that Hong and the others were so ignorant of themselves. They didn't like that young people spoke without thinking, and if it weren't for the chef, Yue would have been falsely accused. Yue's friend brought up that they should apologize. The people agreed. Chung and his friends were put on the spot. Hong saw their stern gazes. It made her teary-eyed. She yelled that they were too much, then she walked out. Chung called out to her. Then he claimed that Xiaoling tampered with the meat. Xiaoling replied that he's a cook, not a scapegoat. Chung challenged him to a one-on-one fight, and he didn't want anyone to help, especially Fei Fei. Xiaoling knew that he was just scared of Fei Fei, so he picked an easy target. He was really a coward. The system congratulated him because he obtained a rare ingredient and unlocked a new skill, culinary massage. He didn't know that there was such a thing. He had no idea what culinary massage was. Unexpectedly, someone grabbed his arm. Chung's friends held him down while commenting that him being a superpowered guy seemed like a bluff. They dared him that if he's really strong, he shouldn't hide behind a woman. They wanted to see what he got without any help. They yelled at Chung to beat him up. Xiaoling replied that they agreed that no one would help, and yet, he's breaking the code. Chung replied that no one needs a code when dealing with a fraud. He grabbed a knife and charged at Xiaoling while telling him to die. Yue told her to stop. Her friends warned Xiaoling to watch out. Fei Fei was ready to attack, but Xiaoling told her not to move. So she froze in place instead. Xiaoling declared that he won't hold back. It was the perfect time to test his skills. He jumped up high and broke free from Chung's friend's grasp. Then he used his technique, culinary massage. He hit Cheng on the chest, leg, and arm. Cheng was in pain. Then, Xiaoling kicked him flying to the opposite side of the room. It made Cheng angrier. He was confused on what's happening. His body won't move. He couldn't control his legs and arms. He yelled for his sister to help him. Yue got worried. She crouched down and asked if he's okay. He told her that he couldn't feel anything. He's worried that he's going to die. She told him that he's not dying. It was just because his body took a massive shock and his muscles were temporarily paralyzed, but it should wear off in a bit. Xiaoling had an eureka moment. When chefs prepare meat, they often tenderize it with a mallet to completely break the fibers and nerves. Meat treated that way becomes more tender and flavorful, so it was commonly called massage meat. Now he knew that it was the meaning of the culinary massage. Cheng's friends realized that he's actually strong. They are more scared of him now instead of Fei Fei. Xiaoling looked at them and told them that it's their turn. They yelled that they were wrong and ran away. Yue approached Xiaoling and apologized on behalf of Cheng. She asked him to let it go for her sake. Xiaoling replied that he doesn't care as long as he doesn't mess with him again. They placed Cheng on a stretcher and carried him out. But even in this condition, Cheng was still resentful toward Xiaoling, and he vowed to take his revenge. Xiaoling reviewed his tablet while people were eating. He was happy with the positive reviews he gained. His bar kept increasing. He was amazed that with just one meal, he got 30 positive reviews. At that rate, he should be able to complete the task soon. Surprisingly, the bar changed. It suddenly shrunk. His soul almost left his body. The system told him not to panic. The system had found that someone gave a 0-point negative review, and according to the rules of the system, if the host receives a negative review, it cancels out half of the day's positive reviews. If he accumulates 3 negative reviews, the system will punish him by resetting his points to 0. He was surprised to hear that. He thinks that it was such a brutal role. He realized that if someone leaves a malicious review, he would never complete the task. He yelled, "Who was it?" At nighttime, someone gave him a negative review. It was this bitch, Hong. And she kept doing it. She was angry since she was the one who always toyed with men, not the other way around. She remembered the taste of what she had eaten. Just thinking about it makes her body go weak. She was infuriated. Someone crawled towards her and called her master. These were 2 men. They were Cheng's friends, and they acted like dogs wanting to be pets. She noticed them and told them that she only likes obedient little doggies, and only by doing their job well could they earn affection. She emits some aura through her eyes, and those waves engulfed their heads, and they acted like dogs with their tongues out. Hong smirked. She took her feet out of the shoes and fed her feet to those men. They happily licked her feet. She commented that men are just creatures who think with the wrong head. She expects that Xiaoling wouldn't be so different. Since he ruined her good time, she vowed to make him pay. The next day, Xiaoling went fishing. Something was caught on his bait, so he pulled the fishing rod and revealed the fish. It was huge. He started thinking if he should braise it or steam it. The fish had sharp teeth, and it chased after him. He realized that it was a mutant fish. It was fast. Xiaoling complained about what kind of apocalypse that is. He questioned how anyone would survive. He could understand mutation, but when it turns to a cross species, it was too much. He hurried to his camper van and grabbed the door, but it won't open. Our MC then panikedly yelled for Fei Fei's name to open it. The system suddenly appeared. The system informed him that he had received 3 negative reviews. His points were reset, and his host qualification has been revoked. The punishment for him is termination. And just like that, the camper van vanished. He pointed at the sky and yelled, "Jerk! That was too much!" The fish had bumped into him, and his face was slapped by its tail. He couldn't breathe because it was too heavy. Suddenly, he jerked his eyes open. The dream scared him to death. He saw Fei Fei sleeping peacefully on top of his chest. He immediately jumped out of bed. He scolded her since he had told her several times already that her bed was downstairs. He threatened to take her snacks if she didn't follow. He heard a noise outside. He was surprised that there's already someone that early. He opened his window to check, and he saw someone loading up the car. Yue's friend placed a bag in the trunk, while Yue prepares her gun. He was puzzled on what's happening. He came out and greeted them. They warmly greeted him too. Yue noticed his dark circles. She asked if he didn't sleep well. He had nightmares all night, that's why he had that. He asked them if they're heading out. Yue stated that Hong said her father stored a lot of food supplies at the foot of Wanda Mountain. There were even daily necessities, food, and even weapons, so they were going to drive there to retrieve them. Hong uttered that supplies are more valuable than lives in the apocalypse. Chung commented that she's so kind to share them with everyone. She narrated that at the beginning of the apocalypse, her dad stockpiled supplies all over the place, but sadly, he never got to use them. Then she admitted that because of her mistake yesterday, the base nearly lost some important food, so she wanted to offer those supplies as compensation to make up for it. Chung's friends told her that it wasn't her fault. They defended that it's not like she did that on purpose. They reasoned that cured meat wasn't common in the north, so no one else recognized it either. Yue's friends commented that Hong hasn't even shed tears yet, and everyone was already showing concern. They commented that some dogs can't stop eating poop. Xiaoling asked about Wanda Mountain, because as far as he knew, the place used to be a summer resort. They opened a bunch of convenience stores for tourists, so survivors must have searched it more than once, and if there were supplies, they would be long gone. Chung's friends asked him what he's implying. They questioned him if he doesn't trust Hong. Chung got angry and questioned him on what Hong did for him to bully her like that. Xiaoling saw how energetic he was, so he commented that it seemed like he was recovering just fine. He offered to help him stretch some more. Chung cursed at him. Hong approached Xiaoling and told him that he misunderstood her, and if he's worried, he could go with them. He thought about it. He asked Yue if she really trusts her. Yue replied that the cured meat won't last long, and people in the base were already showing sodium deficiency. Without seasoning, adults might manage, but the elderly and kids won't hold up. So whether she's lying or not, if there's a chance, she would have to try. Xiaoling was taken aback with her answer. In his head, he called her foolish. He told her that since it wasn't mealtime yet, he'll go with her. Hong was happy. She said that if there's a lot of stuff there, they wouldn't be able to carry it all, so if he goes with them, he can help them pick the right ingredients. She thinks he's an idiot that was easily tricked. Yue's friends wanted to come too, since it would be a full moon. The zombies were more active, so the more people, the safer. She told them that there's no need because she'll be back before dark. She reminded them to lock the doors tight and not to let anyone in before they return. They wanted to insist, but Xiaoling assured them. He told them that they should stay and take care of the grandma and everyone else and leave Yue's safety to him. Both the girls stated that they could rest easy since Xiaoling was there. Yue told him to stop bragging. She reminded him that he was begging for mercy from her not too long ago. He replied that he had no choice since if he looked up at that moment, he would have seen something that he shouldn't have. The girls got curious and asked what it was that he would have seen. Yue panicked when he was about to answer, so she grabbed his mouth to keep it shut and told him not to say it. The girls were intrigued with their secret. Yue almost strangled him to death. Hong watched them, and in her head, she'd like to see how long they can keep laughing. After that, they left the base. Zombies surrounded the area. Xiaoling knew that zombies follow a cyclical pattern. They get especially agitated during a full moon. That day was the 15th, so as expected, there were a lot more zombies around. But he also noticed that Fei wasn't affected at all. She pointed at something. When he turned his head on the road, he was surprised. He immediately stepped on the brakes. Yue asked him why he suddenly stopped. They couldn't cross. The road has collapsed from the rain. They would have to stop the car there. Hong told them that they weren't far from the destination. She expected that a 30-minute walk would get them there. Yue ordered them to bring their weapons and reminded them not to make a sound and be careful with the zombies. They started walking through the forest. Hong was unfazed, while the others remained vigilant. A bee flew, and it landed on Hong's cheek, which led her to scream out loud. Yue shushed her because she'll attract the zombies. She yelled that something bit her. Yue simply swats the bee away. The bee fell on the ground. She asked her what's there to be scared of, but everyone else turned pale upon seeing her swatted away. Hong apologized and reasoned that she was really scared. Chung told Yue not to be mad at Hong because there's no girl who would be afraid of bugs. She replied that she's a girl too, and yet she's not scared. Chung's friends replied that she's different. They told her that she's tougher than most guys, so of course she won't be scared. Chung shared that his sister has always been a tomboy. She grew up with buzz cuts, shorts, to the point that everyone thought she was a boy. He narrated that there was a time she went to the girls' bathroom and scared all the girls into crying. Yue felt embarrassed. Suddenly, Chung and Hong covered their faces. They asked what it was. Xiao Ling suddenly sprayed insect repellent at them. He knew there would be a lot of bugs in the mountain during that time of the year, so he brought a bottle. He added that the spray works great. Not only it repels bugs, but also fights bad breaths. He suggested to Cheng's friends that they should spray more of it. They hurriedly ran away from him. That interaction made Yue laugh. Suddenly, Xiaoling noticed that something was missing. He looked around and asked where Feifei was. They heard a rustling sound. It was Feifei, and she's holding a beehive. They noticed it and they all got terrified. At this point, they knew they messed up. Feifei happily held the beehive. She looked at it carefully, and her eyes sparkled while she drooled. They wondered what she's trying to do. They couldn't believe that she's trying to eat it. She was about to chomp on it. When they yelled for someone to stop her, Xiao Ling yelled at her to stop. But she already bit on it. Then it was followed by a loud scream. Later on, they arrived at the entrance of the tunnel. Yue asked Hong if it was the place that she mentioned. Hong replied yes. She explained that the tunnel collapsed halfway through the construction and has been abandoned for years. Her father used to say that the more dangerous a place is, the safer it actually is because no one would ever dare to enter the place, let alone think that there might be supplies hidden inside. Her cheek hurt. Apparently, she got stung there. Cheng's friends were all swollen and they blamed Feifei. They would like to beat her up if they were only stronger than her. Yue told them that they would go in, but Xiaoling told her to wait. Cheng asked him why. He replied that it's pitch black inside and they don't know what's in there, so rushing like that was too reckless. She threw something inside, and it lit up a portion of the area. They heard a noise. Cheng told them to be careful because something was coming out. They prepared themselves. Flying creatures came out. It was moths. Feifei got scared and ran away. She hid in the bushes. Xiaoling asked them what was there to be scared of. He pulled Feifei out, but she held onto the trunk of the tree and whimpered. Hong liked what she's seeing, though, because even if Feifei seemed crazy, she's a strong fighter. If they lose her, it will be easier to deal with the other two. She told Xiaoling that Feifei must have been traumatized by the bees earlier, so she suggested not forcing her to go inside. Yue looked at the sky and saw that it was getting late. She told them that they can't waste any more time since zombies can get aggressive at night. Xiaoling saw that Feifei was still scared, so he agreed on leaving her. He told her not to run off and just stay there and wait for them to come back. They left. She was still whimpering behind the bushes. Meanwhile, Xiaoling illuminated the place using the flashlight. It was empty. They kept going. He didn't expect it to be that deep. Yue asked how long further till they reached the supplies. Hong replied that they're almost there. Xiaoling was on guard. There was nothing but darkness in front of them, until he saw someone there. Yue immediately raised her gun and asked if it was a zombie. It was Jian and his team. He greeted Yue. The woman from Jian's team brought out her gun. Yue was surprised to see him. He asked them what they're doing there. Cheng's friend raised his gun behind Yue and hit her with it. She fell on the ground, then someone kicked her gun away from her. Cheng's friends, Nan and Bei, held her down. She asked them what they were doing. They yelled at Xiaoling not to move. Yue panicked upon realizing that it was a sneak attack, and she let her guard down. Hong stated that Xiaoling is an ability user, while Yue was just an ordinary person, and if he doesn't want her to get hurt, he should not make any move. Yue saw that Cheng was part of it too. Xiaoling was starting to get annoyed at Hong. He threatened her to let her go, but he got distracted when he heard a noise coming from above. Suddenly, a cage had fallen, trapping him inside. Cheng asked him what he's going to do. He told him that the cage was rigged with high-powered explosives, and one press of the remote and it would explode. He's certain that Xiaoling wouldn't survive a blast. Xiaoling saw the explosives near him. Jian remembered that he was the one who rammed into him with the car. He didn't expect to catch him too soon. Jian praised Cheng and commented that he chose a perfect partner. Cheng replied that it was all thanks to Hong's brilliant idea. Too bad for Xiaoling, the system can't be accessed because of the signal blocker. If only he had access to it, he'd make the bomb explode, break free from the cage, then beat them up. He cursed internally. Yue asked Cheng if he's crazy to listen to that bastard. Cheng replied that he wasn't crazy, but he was sick of her. She couldn't believe what she heard. Cheng replied that back in the orphanage, she always fought with other kids so she wouldn't get bullied. Even though she gave him the food that she stole, they called her Big Sis and mocked him as a coward. Even after the world ended, everyone at the base listened to her and no one ever noticed him. He felt invisible. He screamed how much he hated her. He claimed that he was the one with supernatural potential, so he should be the one people respect and admire, but as long as she's around, he knew he'll always live in her shadow. Yue was hurt by his words. Tears pooled in her eyes. She replied that they didn't have parents growing up, and she always treated him as her most important family member. She just wanted to protect him and keep him safe, so she never thought that he would grow to hate her that much. Xiaoling called him an ungrateful little leech because he lived off his sister, and now he's acting like the victim. Chung yelled at him to shut the hell up. He expressed that he was disgusted by him. Xiaoling simply teased him by saying that he really had some loose screws. Chung added that Yue would rather go out and find some random ability user than wait for him to awaken. Hong was amused that he's in despair. He claimed that she doesn't deserve to be his sister, then he pulled the gun. Jian expressed that even if Yue doesn't see his potential, he believes in him. He promised to let him take over the steel plant and officially become the boss once they have returned. He added that with his men and weapons, and Chung holding the fort with his powers, they will be able to build the strongest base in the apocalypse. Chung thanked him. Yue was shocked to hear that they're bringing them into the steel plant. Yue argues that bringing them back was like inviting a wolf into the house. He'll get everyone killed. Jian slapped her while telling her that he hasn't even settled the score from last time. He asked her how it felt to be stabbed in the back by her own brother. He lectured her that a woman should act like a woman. Daring to ride over a man's head, she really doesn't know her place. Hong glared at her. Yue looked spiteful. Jian stated that making a stubborn woman like her cry and beg under him felt amazing. Hong told him to wait. She gave Bei a chance since he's Chung's friend. She told Yue that she knew there's a lockbox in the steel plant that she always kept hidden. She wanted her to hand it over in exchange for her telling Jian to spare her. She also promised that she won't harm anyone in the steel plant either. Yue tries to remember about it. Then she remembered that they found a lockbox when they first arrived at the plant. But someone noticed the lock has a special mechanism, and if they fail to unlock it 3 times, it explodes. She thought it was dangerous, so she threw it outside. Now she knew what she was after. Yue told her that she doesn't trust her anymore. Hong grits her teeth. Chung told her not to bother with her anymore because if they took over the steel plant, everything inside will be theirs, and it will only be a matter of time before they find the lockbox. Deep inside, Hong thought of him as an idiot. She already searched the plant thoroughly, and if it was there was no need for her to trick Yue. Yue, despite being tricked by Hong, still gave her advice. She told her that in the apocalypse, women like her who cling to men like parasitic vines, once discarded, end up miserable. She questioned if men who can betray their own sister were really worth trusting. Hong was taken aback. Chung insists that his feelings for Hong were real. He warned her not to plant distrust among them. Yue watched her expression. She whispered in Yue's ear that she's not a parasitic vine. She added that men are just tools for her, and the one who's truly pitiful was her. Because, on the outside, she's tough, but she's actually soft-hearted. She gave everything for her brother and her base, but she can't see their selfishness and greed. And just a hint of dissatisfaction and they'll turn on her, treating her like the enemy. Hong also knew she liked Xiaoling. Yue blushed. Hong told her that with just a snap of her finger, Xiaoling would kneel at her feet. She told her that everything she cares about, everything she loves, will all end up hers. Yue refused to believe it. She thought that not everyone would betray their conscience for personal gain. Hong suggested that they make a bet. If she loses, she would hand over the lockbox. Chung looked worried as he asked her what she's trying to do. Xiaoling was confused when Hong stopped in front of him. She told him that the meat he cooked before was unforgettable, and she hoped that she could taste it again. Xiaoling was surprised, since he thought she didn't like it. She asked him how that was possible. Then she told him that if he's willing to leave Yue and join them, she will let him stay in the base as their chef. She activated her powers and made Xiaoling's eye glow in pink. He was silent. Hong knew that even ability users show weakness in desperate times. And the moment their will cracks, her mental powers can take over. She wants him to be her prisoner. Unexpectedly, Xiaoling told her to stop lying. She was taken aback while Yue seemed pleased. He told her that he knew she was the one leaving a bad review last time. He found the evaluation sheet right outside her door. Hong was surprised that he resisted her control. She thought he was an idiot, But surprisingly, his will was unbelievably strong. Chung yelled that they couldn't let him live. He insists that the man must die that day. He reasoned that they don't know yet what his ability was, so if they let him stay, he'll be a huge threat. But deep inside, he doesn't want there to be another ability user in the base except for him. He tapped the gun in Yue's head, and he looked away for a second. Yue grabbed the arms of Chung's friends and threw them on the ground. Chung was shocked, even more when Yue charges at him using her head. He dropped the remote. Hong ordered them not to let Yue get to the remote. Yue and Chung raised to get it. When she saw Chung would get to it first, she elbowed his jaw. Then she reached for the remote. She rolled and eventually got it. Chung tried to stand up, but Yue stepped on him. She grabbed the dagger. She warned everyone to drop their gun, otherwise she'll kill him. Xiaoling praised her great work. He smirked with confidence. Bloodline suppression never lied, and he knew it gave him the upper hand. This fight was already decided. He could win it in his sleep. Chung yelled that she couldn't kill him because she's his brother. She called him an ungrateful snake and declared that from then on she's no longer his sister. Chung sought help from Hong and Jian. Hong was annoyed with him since he's ruining everything. Jian wasn't threatened, though. He pointed out that he's her brother and not his, so she could kill him as she pleased. Chung felt betrayed. In Yue's head, he called him a despicable bastard. Something moved very fast, and it wrapped Jian's female teammate in spiderweb and pulled her away. Xiaoling asked what was wrong. It also caught Hong's attention. Yue seemed to notice it too. Jian asked what that was. They heard a loud sound. Everyone watched and anticipated the direction of the sound. Someone asked if it was a zombie, but it sounded huge for a zombie. Jian replied that he doesn't care what it was. He could just blast it away. He opened fire. His men did the same. They concentrated on firing despite not knowing what it was. It continued, and nothing happened. The area was filled with dark smoke. The sound was gone, so they thought that it was already dead. The creature moved quickly through the dark smoke and slashed Jian's friends one by one. They bled and died. It was caused by a large spider, and it looked terrifying. They were all alarmed upon seeing that mutated spider. They were so scared, they couldn't fathom that a mutant spider could really grow that big. Xiaoling yelled at them that it wasn't just an ordinary mutated creature. He knew it was a predator. Unlike typical mutants, predators don't just eat humans, they also hunt zombies and other mutants. They absorb their power to grow stronger. In his past lives, predators didn't appear that early. He wondered why it happened this early on. He wondered if it was a chain reaction from binding the system. It ate the woman that it took earlier. She weakly sought help. But the spider bit on her powerfully and made her blood splattered all over. The blood splashed to the living. It terrified them. Jian told them to run. Chung was alarmed. He glanced at his sister. Then he pushed her while yelling at her to die. She rolled away and landed near the predator. She turned pale, and she just closed her eyes because she knew she couldn't escape. Xiaoling used his show-off card, and with his strength he grabbed the bars of the cage. Super strength was granted to him, and he broke the cage with his bare hands. He ran as fast as he could, then he grabbed Yue. Then he saw the others running away. The spider lets out its web and wrapped it one by one to the people who were running away. Then the spider pulled them. Meanwhile, Jian and Chung were close to the exit. They could already see the light from the end of the tunnel. But the spider web was thrown on their way, and it blocked the entrance. Jian knew they fucked up. They glanced behind them and saw that the monster was chasing them. Chung asked if there's another exit because they wouldn't be able to escape because of the blocked entrance. Hong pointed at a drainage that leads outside. But someone had to hold off the spider. No one was willing because that's technically suicide. Hong turned to Bei and Nan. They reasoned that they treated her well, so she shouldn't make them go. She replied, "Of course," then suggested that they were willing to give up their lives for her. Her powers were activated, and it affected those men. They stated that they will do anything for her, and they walked towards the spider. They faced it and raised their arms up. The spider released its web and dragged them away and ate them. Blood dripped from its mouth. Jean pulled open the drainage. They hurried and went. Chung saw something on the side. It was the explosives left behind during the tunnel construction. He stated that Yue was heartless and she shouldn't blame him for being ruthless. He fired at the explosives. He wanted those two to die with the monster. The explosives were lit up. The monster saw him. He entered the drainage and ran. The explosives were left lit. Then it exploded. It was a huge explosion, so loud that it spooked Fei outside. Then she realized something. She looked at the tunnel and saw it burning inside. It continued to emit black smoke. She frantically paced around. She wanted to go in, but she's scared that there were moths. She shook her head and remembered the fun times with Xiaoling. She liked it when he threw chips at her. She made up her mind, and she charges inside. The inside was burning. Xiaoling gained consciousness, but his head was buzzing. He wondered what happened. Then he realized he couldn't move his body. It was because he was stuck on the spider web. It was so sticky. But just a mere spider web won't stop him. He pulled his arms and removed his clothing. He was able to break free. He noticed how there's so many spider webs there. He saw one person wrapped in a web. He assumed that it was Jian's subordinates that were taken away earlier. They were wrapped like a mummy. He assumed that the mutated beast sees those people as reserve food, but the spiderwebs cushioned the explosion's impact. Then he saw Yue. He immediately ran to her to ask if she's okay, but she was unconscious. There was something burning near them. The fire was starting to get thin. If that continues, the tunnel will soon run out of oxygen, so they must quickly get out. He grabbed the dagger and slashed away, but it couldn't cut through the web. It was so tough. Then he saw something, and it gave him an idea. He sticks the explosives on the web, and he and Yue hid behind a boulder. Then he pressed the button, which caused the explosive to explode. Then it burned the spider webs. His plan was a success. It opened a path, but he heard a sound. The cocoons were shattering. It revealed the humans inside, and they fell. One by one, they fell on the ground. Those people stood up. They had weird purple blobs on their body. They staggered as they walked. Xiaoling wondered if they were truly alive. But he knew that they must have been infected by the virus through the cocoons, so they turned into zombies, and they started attacking. Xiaoling got out behind the boulder and faced them. He broke their arms and twisted their legs. He turned them into a ball. He was all done. But the zombies' foot and fingers reached the ground, and they started rolling the shit out of them. It was funny how it mutated into an abnormal type and chased Xiaoling. Eventually, it was able to untangle its arms and legs, and it crawled upside down towards him. He grabbed Yue and ran as fast as he could. He realized that they don't have nerves, so culinary massage was useless to them. The tunnel started to crumble. After 2 explosions, it won't hold up anymore. And there were zombies behind them. He wished Fei was there. He could imagine her dealing with those zombies. He decided to deal with those zombies first and find a way out. He put Yue on the side. Then he retrieved some items in his storage space. He took a gallon of oil. The zombie came after them. He splashed the oil on the zombie, and it slipped and rolled towards the wall. Those zombies ended up on top of each other. Then Xiaoling kicked the crumbling ceiling, and the debris started falling, and it buried those zombies. He commented that he even prepared their graves, which makes him a really good person. But to his surprise, it was collapsing really fast. A silhouette appeared, and Fei landed on top of him. Fei shook the dust off. Xiaoling was alarmed since he didn't know who ambushed him, but it was just Fei. It was already dusk. They rode the camper van. The moon was already out. Once that full moon was up, the danger level would increase. Xiaoling knew they had to get off the mountain fast. He wondered if Cheng's crew had made it back to the steel factory. Yue groaned. Xiaoling touched her forehead. It was hot. He stopped the camper van. He knew that a fever was the first sign of turning. He wondered if she got infected like the others. He noticed something on her back. He inspected it and saw that it was a zombie bite mark, but it didn't look fresh. He had a thought. Eventually, it had turned dark. Yue's friends were getting worried since they weren't back yet. They hoped that nothing had happened. The short-haired girl believed that with Xiaoling around, they wouldn't be scared of a few zombies. They eventually saw the car. It stopped at the entrance. Cheng waved at them. They wondered why there was only a single car. They asked where Xiaoling and Fei were. Chung replied that they ran into a mutated creature on the road and they went off the mountain with the car. He told them that his sister was badly hurt, so they had to let them in. They immediately opened the gate when they heard that. But then they remembered that Yue told them not to enter the gate unless they saw her with their own eyes. They told Chung that they wanted to see her. Hong and him looked at each other. Chung asked if they don't trust him. Hong added that Yue lost so much blood and had fainted, and any more delay will endanger her life. The blue-haired woman took her gun and replied that if Yue was really in the car, there was no reason for them not to see her. They were acting suspicious. The short-haired woman told the blue-haired woman to stay there while she goes to get more people. Jian peeked on the sunroof and insisted that they open the gate. They saw him and they immediately knew to hit the alarm, but Jian took out his cannon and fired at them. The woman was almost at the alarm, but the explosion happened first. They were blasted away. Then the people on the ground crawled in towards the entrance. They placed the explosives and lit it. It caused another explosion, and the entrance was blown open. They rejoiced because they had already claimed the steel factory. Yui's friends were down on the ground. Chung looked at them in horror. Jian asked him what he's staring at. He pointed out that he doesn't seem very happy. Hong replied that it was nonsense. She explained that Chung was just surprised at how things went smoothly and was overjoyed for a moment. Jian told him to go in and claim the prize. He started the car and drove in. Meanwhile, the zombies started moving towards the steel factory. The citizens asked who they were. They grabbed the women, and they gathered everyone at the center. Jian asked if everyone's there. His subordinate replied that no one was missing. The citizens got mad at Chung for selling them out. They knew Yue won't let him get away when she comes back. Jian asked them if they still think Yue would come back. They asked what he meant. They realized that Chung conspired with others and harmed his own sister. They questioned his humanity. That man was kicked down to the ground by Jian's subordinates. Chung stated that Wei was dead, and from then on, he's the only boss in the steel factory. He told them that as long as they kneeled down and called him boss, he would let them stay there. Otherwise, they will be thrown out. The citizens looked at each other as if they were lost on what to do. A wooden stick hits the ground, and the old woman approaches Chen without saying anything. Chung asked her if she's the oldest one. He wanted her to set an example for everyone. Everyone was worried for Grandma. She pursed her lips and spat in Chung's face. Of course, Chung got angry. She told him not to mind her because old people had a lot of phlegm, and she's just an old woman. And she would rather let the zombies eat her than live like a dog under a piece of shit like him. Then she walked away. The crowd shared her sentiment and stated that people like him are more terrifying than zombies, and if they stay, it was just a matter of time before they get killed. They don't believe that they will survive there, so they left. Chung was shocked. He asked them if they were idiots. They were old, weak, sick, and disabled, and he knew they wouldn't survive a single day outside. They just simply glared at him. Then Chung explained that Yue was just a normal person, and he's the one with the ability seed. He claimed that he could do anything she could. He urged them to stay and promised to protect them. He told them not to even dare to leave because no one was allowed. He yelled that he's the boss, so they have to listen to him. Hong told them that they can leave, but they can't take anything from the base. Then she asked Liu to hand over the keys to the warehouse. He asked if he could stay if he gave her the keys. They couldn't believe him. They called him a spineless worm. They were so disappointed, especially since Yue trusted him so much, but he doesn't think that way, since he felt that he's just a janitor with keys and not someone with authority. In addition to that, it was a full moon, and he expected that the outside would swarm with zombies. He admitted that he doesn't want to go out there and die. He told Hong that he always managed the supplies for the steel factory, and no one knows the place better than him. He stated that he's willing to hand over the keys in exchange for a place to stay. He took something out from his pocket. Then he charges at Hong while calling her bitch. He knew she was no good from the start, and he wanted to avenge Yue. He was about to kick her, but he was counterattacked. They got worried for old Liu. He called her devil. Her nails were super long, and she used it to pick up the key from the ground. She was amused that he didn't think that she would be prepared for a bastard like him. She now has the keys. She looked proud of herself, while Chung couldn't fathom what he saw. She replied that it was a weapon. She stated that the apocalypse was dangerous, so a weak little woman like he would need self-defense. Jian tapped Chung's shoulder and told him that when he gave them a way out, they didn't appreciate it. so he suggested that disobedient things are useless to keep around. The steel factory was up in flames. Jian's men kept firing. The people ran while calling them murderers. The factory became a lake of blood. Lots of them died in their own pool of blood. Chung told them to stop it. He yelled that if he killed them all, the place would just be an empty shell. He claimed that in order to grow, the base needs people. Jean replied that it wasn't like that, because they were there. Jean asked him if he wanted to join them. He replied no. Jean replied that it was a relief. Then he told Chung to kneel down and call him boss. Chung looked at him in horror. Meanwhile, a man ran as fast as he could. He pointed that the garage was just ahead, and once they got in the car, they could escape. They assisted Grandma and told her to hang in there. The middle-aged man carried old Liu on his back. He promised him that they would go fishing after the apocalypse ends, so he better not die. Suddenly, a woman was yanked through the hood of her clothes. They got worried for her. She told them to just run and not mind her. The man threw him on the ground, and they looked at her pervertly, saying that she's pretty hot. Their boss told them that they could do whatever they wanted with the people in there. She looked at them in horror while asking what they're doing. One of them shared that letting those two girls escape last time gave him blue balls, but this time, he'll have some fun. He wondered how many of them she could handle. She was so scared. They grabbed her arm and ripped her clothes. Unexpectedly, a block hits the assailant's head. They all turned to who it was. It was the man that was always with her. He kept hitting the man with the brick and yelled that he'd fight them to death. The woman who was ushering Grandma also punched them. She yelled to kill those motherless bastards. Even Grandma fought back. She hit them with her wooden stick. Lee felt relieved. The middle-aged man tackled one of the assailants and punched him. He decided to stop running. He knew Yue and the others worked so hard to build the place, so even if he dies, he promised to die defending it. Everyone else agreed. They decided that if they're going down, they would take them with them. Everyone unites. Jian's men commented that those people were crazy, and they started shooting. They were surprised when zombies bit them. It was a gruesome scene. They saw a horde coming. It was a full moon horde, and they entered through the blasted gate. Jian's men were grabbed. Some kept shooting to fend for themselves. They kept firing as the horde approached. The middle-aged man told them to run while he held them off. The zombies kept going, even when shot. It bit the middle-aged man's gun. Unexpectedly, Fei Fei jumped in and kicked the zombie away. She hit the zombies one after another. She kept going. Eventually, the camper van arrived. Xiaoling parked it. He was confused why there's so many zombies. People were relieved to see him. Jian asked Chung what he's staring at. He told him to hurry up since his patience was running thin. Chung argued that it wasn't what they agreed on. He told him that he was the one who brought him in and he's the ability's seed. Jian kicked his shin, which made him fall to his knees. Then Jian stated that an unawakened ability seed is the same as a useless piece of shit. He told him that he talked about it all day, and yet he still hid behind a woman. Then he stated that Xiaoling was right about him, that he's just a parasite living off his sister, and he actually thought he was hot shit. He added that he's not a fool like Yue, so if he wanted to roll with him, he'd have to know who his daddy was. Jian was stepping on Chung's head, while Chung couldn't believe what was happening. He thought that if he's still someone's subordinate, then there was no point in betraying Yue and the base. He cursed in his head. Then they heard the loud noise and Jean's men screaming that the zombies were there. The creepy zombies ran towards them. Jean was surprised to see so many zombies. He asked them if they blocked the main gate. His subordinates replied that they did, but they didn't expect those wooden planks to be so flimsy. He called them morons and told them that full moon zombies are much stronger than usual, and wooden planks are fucking useless. They told him to hurry up and bring the explosives. Suddenly, something moved at the speed of light, and those men were slashed. Yan was surprised. He was hit on the chest, too. A silhouette of a woman appeared behind him. He coughed while bleeding so badly. It was Hong. She slashed them using her long fingernails. He asked her why. Then she stated that he just said it. There can only be one boss, and she just helped him understand his place. He called her bitch. Chung was so proud of her, but deep inside she thought of him as another moron. He kicked Jian while calling him a backstabbing dog. He asked him who's his daddy now. He told her that it's too dangerous, so they better hide. And after the horde subsides, they will recruit people again, and then the entire steel factory will be theirs. But then, she crushed his arm and tossed him on the ground. She asked him if he really thought she liked him. She told him that he's just like Jian, and both of them were just tools for her. She didn't expect him to be so useless to mess up a base that was already in her hand, but she had no choice but to handle the rest herself. She told him to show his remaining value by holding off those zombies for her. Then he watched her run away. He asked why. He was infuriated that she left him too. He questioned what Yue had that he didn't. He felt bad that everyone looked down on him. A zombie then bit Jian's subordinate, and more zombies charged in. Jian watched it happen. He called Chung to save him. He told him that he had tons of explosives outside, and as long as he gets him out of there, he will recognize him as the boss, and he will give him all the explosives too. Chung was quiet, though. He glanced at him. Then he approached him. He wanted assurance that he wouldn't lie to him again. Jian promised that he wouldn't, and that as long as they both survive, he will acknowledge him as his daddy and follow every command. Chung smirked and told him that he'll give him a chance. He grabbed him on his neck and lifted him in the air. Jian cursed at him. Chung reminded him that he just said that he was his only daddy. He tightened his grip and asked where the explosives were, but Jian refused to tell him unless he took him with him. He tightened the grip even more. Then he released flames on his fingers. Jian complained that it was so hot. He was on fire. He yelled at him to let him go. Chung was surprised to see his fire-type ability. He rejoiced that he finally awakened. Jian promised to tell him everything if he lets him go. Chung told him that he doesn't need him anymore and told him to die. He burned him. Jian's head was engulfed with flames. Then the fire spread all throughout his body. He was roasted to death. Chung threw him away. Then he sped off toward the zombies. He blasted them with fire. The zombies burned. The fire spread among the zombies. In an instant, they were gone. Chung walked away afterwards. He was happy to learn the powers of an ability user. He laughed out loud. He was so happy. Those people who looked down on him, Jian and Hong, he'll make sure they will regret it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the steel factory, Jian's men were busy loading up the truck. They didn't expect there to be so many supplies there. They felt so lucky. They moved faster because the zombies would arrive soon. They cursed at Jian for eating meat by himself and not even letting them have soup. They knew that if they kept following him, they would die soon enough. With all the stuff plus the dynamite, they had enough to start their own thing. A sound caught their attention. They saw a burnt body and was able to recognize that it was the boss. Chung threw it at them and he watched them from the roof. He told them that Jian was dead, and from then on, he was their boss. He told them that anyone who disobeys him would end up like that. Their eyes widened upon seeing him. Concurrently, Xiaoling got off the camper van. He invited everyone inside. They ran as fast as they could as the zombies chased them. Eventually, they got in and shut the door. The zombies approached the camper van, and they were blasted away, all of them, from all sides. Xiaoling knew they were screwed because if that continues, even 10 resurrections won't be enough. They were crowded inside the camper van. The woman screamed, asking who touched her butt. The middle-aged man behind her told her that she should lose weight because she's shoving her butt to him. They asked if people could get on the roof because they're packed inside. The grandma looked for her cane. Even Xiaoling was shoved to the window. They kept pushing to the point that he was thrown out. He fell on the ground. And when he raised his head, he was surrounded by a horde of zombies. They drooled upon seeing him. He ran for his life while complaining about his life. The system congratulated him for completing the hidden mission called Self-Sacrifice to Save Others. With that, he unlocked a new weapon. He was asked if he wanted to use it. He was glad to find out that there's something like that. He replied that he'd use it at once.
Thank you all for watching. Please watch this next Giga Chad video, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, support the channel by joining the Summon Club membership. You can also support by just liking the video and being awesome.